PGS coming to PGS 7 and 8 in my mind. They won the finals by 74 points, which is absolutely insane. Salute looked unstoppable in PWS with 39 kills in the 12-game finals. He was smurfing in the pro lobby with some of the biggest names in PUBG Esports history. I think their performance definitely makes them one of the big tournament favorites.
So now that we have had a quick look at our 3 groups, and speaking of tournament favorites, why don't we just take a minute to talk about the teams you think will be in the running for the PGS trophy on the final day?
It seems like Twist Minds has some magic at PGS. Maybe it's the short-form tournaments that suit them. Either way, I have high hopes for them, but I predict 2 months ago that
the dashboard.
I'm sticking with them for PGS. How about you? Which teams
pop
do
out
you
this
have
chat.
Harold definitely delivered an impressive performance regionally. I agree they're one of the top contenders. I'm also really looking forward to seeing how Falcon performed this year with the original Sonics roster on board. I think they will continue to be strong. Since this is the first global event of the year, every team here is a world-class squad. It set the stage for this year's first true clash, so I'm really looking forward to seeing how it all plays out. I have actually one more question for you, Yingxi. Are there any interesting storylines you will be following at PGS 7? I know for me, I'm excited to see the rematch of our PGC contenders. For example, we have Expandables, TSM, Freaks, VP, and T1. They all had a shot at the trophy going into the final match of PGC 2024.
That was an incredible way to finish this year. I hope we can see something similar at PGS. For me, I'm looking forward to seeing all of the new and returning teams. We have 5 entirely new teams: Bestia, ROC Esports, Divine, Taikula, and GK Esports. We also have teams we are seeing for the first time in years like Begopa and Forest Natural Gaming. On top of that, this was one of the most active offseason in PUBG Esports history. We haven't even talked about E-Arena yet, who managed to sign Narins in the offseason. It will be our first chance to see him on a team not called Daytrade. Mine, Zilzon, and DraftKings are returning to PGS on the new Bestia squad. New Happy qualified with a completely new roster. 4M brought Atomu and Longzi from Thailand. JNG rebuilt with a new roster as well. There is so much to watch at PGS. I can't wait for the tournament to start.
I agree. I think our first global event of the year, PGS 7, is set to be one of the most exciting PUBG events in history, so make sure you're here to join us for all the fun. PGS 7 will kick off in Shanghai on April 28th with 3 days of group stage and 3 days of grand finals from May 2nd to May 4th, where we will crown our first PGS champions of the year. Then after a week break, we will be back in action from
I need
for PGS 8.
a thing
stay up
for
to date
the
with all things PUBG Esports on
giveaway
PUBGesports.com. That would do it for us here on PGS Preview. Thank you again for Yingxi for joining us and sharing your insight. I'm your host Lisa, and I'll see you on April 28th for PGS 7. Bye!
Bye!
Bye. Oh my god, my internet is not having a good time. Hello? Load. Load! Load! Is Twitter just dying? Is that what's happening? Which team do I think will be 16th place?
We are here for PGS 7 Grand Finals. Which team is going to be able to perpetrate the heist of 2025?
Probably Bestia, Begopa, New Happy.
Against the vault that they have secured in 2024. Welcome,
one of them.
ladies and gentlemen, to the Grand Finals.
Bro,
one of it, in fact,
why is this not loading?
Games coming your way to determine who is going to be our grand champion. And I have Toffees, I have Avenger here to bring you all of the action that is going to be going down. Toffees,
this works.
Let's go. It's going to be a great day. You talk about the Vault Keepers with Twisted Minds. I think Daytrade is also looking to get a little bit of Vault action. It's going to be a very chaotic first day.
Avenger?
Yeah, I'm excited to be here, of course, and get the year kicked off with the global scene here. The meta is shifting slowly, and new regions arise.
Definitely so. Let's talk sponsors first and get that done and dusted. We got Crafton and Hero Esports bringing you all of the action throughout what is going to be here for not only for PGS 7 but also PGS 8 as well upcoming. So lots to look forward to.
If you're looking to overpower your game, you got to go to op.gg, helping to keep track of those stats.
Yeah, and of course, thank you so much to Auros for joining us here for our PUBG PC sponsorship here for the official PC partner.
Yes, thank you very much to them. Next up, we've got AMD, our official CPU partner, making sure that everyone's powered and good to go.
And then, of course, the only monitor that makes you go zowie when you see everything in full
Oh,
detail.
Lord.
And you also got to be comfortable here, and you are very comfortable in the NSC GGs here for the official.
Too many answers?
And
Ah,
of course,
damn it.
Lexi joining us as well as our official.
I'll go Bestia.
Making sure that, nobody forgets anything, and also the PCs are also very stable and stuff like that. But we also have the drops that you guys could accumulate over in the chat as well. So make sure you're watching as long as possible. Get those sprays on board. Get the emblem on board. You can attach that to your nice little nameplate. It look really cool because you probably don't have the partners ones. We have the cooler ones.
Right, we do have cool ones.
yeah,
Sorry
that's
about that.
I like the new 2025 partner one actually. You see that?
Looks good, yeah,
Very
a little
colourful as well
cyberpunky.
on the back. Yeah, very nice, very nice. All right, we got a lot to talk about, but we actually get to all of this regional representation and who's been able to make it because EMEA
Ooh, I
kind of in the bin.
spelled that
here,
wrong,
Avenger,
didn't I?
So far, but we do have some good representation.
Yeah, we do. We have some fantastic guys obviously here, some defending champions, but also, yeah, it's been looking very good. APAC obviously having 5 teams here. It is. Last year was really where the big rise, obviously, with the Expendables coming
Oh,
through
no, that
PGC and
one.
winning
This
it.
one.
It feels like it's going to continue that year with APAC having the 5 teams here. And yeah, EMEA and Korea, only 2 each.
Americas,
Yeah.
very specifically.
You
Americas.
gotta be clear, it's the Americas.
Yes.
Because there's only one North American team here, which is not what we're used to seeing. But I will say the South American teams that have shown up here have actually been a pleasant surprise. Like I said, we saw Bestia make a massive comeback. We saw Furia with some really good plays. So I'm curious to see what they do in this incredibly difficult lobby.
Yeah, and for sure, as we take a kind of stock of all of that that's going on, APAC has really become a bit more of a focal point. I think obviously.
Wow, who could have seen that coming? Who could have guessed that APAC are going to shit on everyone this year? Wow, I'm sure glad that they have a caster there who is an APAC specialist. You know what I'm saying?
PGS, Martin, what are we looking for APAC?
Yeah, I'm super excited to see if we're going to be able to
I'm not
see
mad.
Expendables
It's fine.
come in and really show that there was not just a one-off for PGC, right? We need to see them in the top 4. Forest comes in, and we've only seen them once before in
gonna
a
load
PGS
yet?
setting with two of the guys,
Probably
with
not.
and Scabby. They kind of have a new
Okay, though.
join in here with
Brilliant.
Kiss and Baron coming in, and that's going to be kind of cool to see. They had quite impressive showing in the group stage, considering it's their first kind of international couple of years. And I would say in a case of Expendables, Clarice was crazy good
was
in
blasting.
He really
the
was.
group stage. Like, he was very good.
I mean, we talk about the glories of glories. This is a team, I think the one-off is the thing
Nope.
you brought up. Everybody's watching saying, can these guys do it?
Bam.
There is an argument that maybe PGC just so happened to go their way because they got some
Wish 4AM got into the
struggling.
finals to get have
But
an
I
easy
think their
choice. That's
opening showing here
true.
was very respectable,
What the hell just
particularly on
happened?
the back of Glories, and says, hey, whether or not we're going to win again this year, there's no arguing that we are a top-tier team to lead a top-tier region.
I would say that MVP slot that he was able to acquire in
Yes.
PGC made him brimming with confidence,
Yes.
and that's why we saw him on the international stage being like,
Why
no
is it not
fear, no
working?
care, we're the world champions. And
Oh,
it's suddenly
hello?
materialized that way. That being said, though, at the top
My
of the
social
group
media
stage
is
was
dying.
Day Trade, Martin.
Yeah.
Absolutely
There it is.
destroying the competition in groups.
Yeah, they very early on got a very good start on their second day, and that just filled them with so much confidence. They ran at every single team, even our back-to-back-to-back champions, Twisted Minds, and dominated them multiple times, where it's like, okay, they're not losing any of their 1 versus 1s. Their utility is extremely
Alright, I
on
need to
point.
update
It's
my
just so good to
giveaway
see
commands
kind of level up their
because I got
utility.
new giveaways
I caught up
today.
with the team right before today. I just out of curiosity grabbed a translator and said, what happened? Why were you guys performing so well? And they said, we were really mad at ourselves in regionals. And so our goal was we played nothing but intense battle royale since regionals in order to just focus on mechanics and aggression and working together as a squad. And apparently it has made them comfortable, and they said very excited to go out there and play, and they feel loose.
That's
looks-
our way to practice.
I guess.
I didn't know that was going to be
I
the case,
laughed.
but
I thought they
No,
were
I
kidding
don't.
when they
I
pointed
don't
at
need
it.
it.
And the translator's like, no, and he double checked.
fine.
Like, no, we just played insane.
I just need
All right,
to
all right. Fair play. Well, let's compare them to
in this one.
the Vault Keepers in Twisted Minds. 3 PGSs back-to-back. Day Trade obviously had a spectacular group stage overall, and we're comparing that to where Twisted Minds was in obviously one of their 3 PGS victories.
Yeah,
this.
the biggest PGS victories for the group stage, obviously,
Yes,
but still, I would say the biggest kind of
this
focal
one
point for this, for me to look in here, is the difference down to second place. They were 29 points ahead. No other teams were in triple digits here for PGS 7 for Day Trade. Yeah, BB Team and Twisted Mind, sure, 98.
Okay, this shit is like
but
not loading at all, but
it's
it's
still one more
surely
kill
fine.
here, guys. Yep. That's a record as well.
Twisted Minds is obviously given for us thinking about who could be a champion. My question to you boys is, and I'll start with myself, is can Day Trade replicate that kind of group stage performance?
You know, if they weren't able to prior to
okay, well, Facebook is shitting the bed entirely.
I mean,
there is a
imagine
post
you're a
there.
team like Day Trade. You come in, you play really well, and then you look at the
You want to
graphics
enter the
that you show,
giveaway?
and you go
You go do that.
You could find a comparison to our performances to go back to one of the best teams in the world.
That's fair.
Best ever performance, and we still perform better than them on a couple of those stats. If you weren't confident as a team in the green room, like that is going to get them so gassed up going into today.
All right,
I think they're really going to
fantasy team thoughts.
I think for this, where they were in a situation 1 or 2 games in on their second day where they had so many points, and the majority of the teams they ran towards was still trying to ensure qualification.
I feel like this is kind of a crazy team.
Kind of slowing down a little bit and not facing them full on as aggressively as Day Trade was. Then it's a different case where they have the upper hand, they have the advantage because other teams are backing off and trying to slow down. And that's where I think here, especially,
it's literally right here. Thank you.
PGS qualification on the line, PGS points on the line, and potential global ranking points on the line, that it's going to matter a lot as well. All the other teams are going to be in a completely different mindset, and the meta is slowly shifting towards we got to be consistent, we're going to take smart fights, and we're going to make sure we get as deep into the end game as possible.
Well, regardless of performances in the past, we're very used to seeing Day Trade here, but we are a little few newcomers in terms of organizations, I should say, making their way here to the PGS final stage. Starting things off with good old Bestia. Again, the Americas, I'm going to keep saying plural, holding strong.
So that's the singular, and we talk about them as like their debut, their sort of big showing here. But keep in mind, their shot
any of the prices.
One of PGS before. So
how is Example so much more than Frenzy? Was he that much better?
How the flow of the game works at this level, and
is he that much better?
Now, can they keep that honeymoon vibe that they're living on right now, rolling through all
Example
of
had 11 frags, Shrimsy had 15.
I don't know, but for now, they look good.
How many giveaway codes you got?
We have Bagel Partner. I don't think a lot of people would have expected to get to the finals without PO, but hey man, they've shown up, Martin.
Yeah, they have. It's looking good for them. They have fraggers. They have experience.
Like
one of the oldest average age rosters here. If not
I think I got 37 as well.
4 or 5 years, actually. Very, very old here. But these
I also
guys
don't know if you're allowed to give them away on Twitter, by the way.
I remember Song Jiang back in 2018.
He'll perform today? Who, Shrimsy or Example?
Events. Like, he's been on there for such a
I saw you doing it, but I don't know if you're allowed to. I got spanked last time. I did something that wasn't exactly lined out in the instructions.
Obviously has PO with them in their hearts.
Is that true?
I like it, but Takulo has been very impressive as well. Obviously, I think a lot of us look to Spaceman as the one to carry that torch forwards, but in general as a roster, they've looked good.
Yeah, I think,
how did Too Hard end on 12 frags, by the way? What a fucking legend. What an absolute fucking legend.
I do think that they benefited a little bit from the chaos created by some of the hot drops that we saw throughout this group stages.
Oh, Boris Natural Gaming liked my photo.
Ooh. And to perform so well, especially on day 1 of group stages.
Let's go check.
I
on
put
the boys.
them on my fantasy team because I think they are going to roll forward with that.
That's a bold pick considering the prices.
I know. It's like exactly. You have a lot of options out there.
Yes, you do. You can make some crazy teams coming into it. But it kind of makes sense to a degree, right, Martin? Because if you are judging just off of the group stage, you've got heavy hitters like Petrichor Road, like DN Freaks, who didn't quite hit a home run to get to the finals.
No, but still, they're going to get the damage in. They're going to get the kills, and we're talking 18 games. So, yeah, I'm expecting to, even though if Freaks doesn't do well, Saludos don't do well.
Yeah, definitely so, definitely so. All right, let's move on and get things rolling, of course, though, as we take a look at everybody that's been able to take those top kills across the board. And surprise, surprise, we're seeing a lot of Day
Check it out.
Trade.
25% of the lobby is Thailand teams.
I'm a little bit, well, I'm British. I have to be kind of skeptical, right?
Ain't no way we don't get a Thai champ.
Carry it into the grand finals. I saw some crashes there that kind of fed them some points here and there. But, I mean, they were able to hold on strong on some of those compounds, so I guess I can't blame it.
They seem happy. They seem light. Belmont said, we understand that we have momentum. Our entire plan for today is to just keep that momentum rolling. They came in loose. They didn't look like they were stressed. And to me, that is a very big deal. And honestly,
17 will find another team to mess with.
Teams here getting through is also just really good for all of their mental space. To go,
Not in like hot drops, unless anyone else tries to go Pachinki Picado. I did see actually the
is chaotic.
Yes, it is.
But regardless of that fact, they've been able to thrive.
And that's actually what PGS has been too, right?
Yes,
it's been very chaotic in here, of course. Oh, we're going to be playing 3 days, 18 matches, as I said. And it is going to be most points, no changes, no nothing. It's standard, everything you know and love. A little bit of change up in the teams also. We did see TKL, Spaceman in there. He also did dominate just recently. He's in very good form coming out of PCL.
All these websites are
like
ass.
One of the top fraggers. And now again in the group stage. I'm looking forward to see him here as well. He could be one of those, not sleeper picks because he was kind of expensive.
There you go.
He could be one of the sleeper picks for fantasy too.
Obviously,
Russia has submitted a petition to fight with China because the Ukrainian group Navi has tried and broke. So,
what do you think?
I mean, I wouldn't say. I think in some ways this is actually
claiming School,
like a lot of really top teams
which I think is fighting Pero. Terminal.
And I think the fact that we're not going to see tons of hot drops.
That's fine.
Everyone kind of knows where they are.
Power Grid.
Anyone could take this, but Twisted Minds, I'm going to double down on and say.
I think that's Petrichor Road.
Like they are being.
They're fighting Petrichor Road twice and then contesting on Rondo.
They're just like, this is our business, this is our house, this is where we win.
Like nearby on Tego, because they're like Terminal West split. Twisted Minds is east of it.
This time around, Avenger, he was
That's
fourth on the
kind of fine.
overall list of kills.
He was still third in damage.
True.
Holy
so,
shit.
The other guys are just last hitting. Here, though, we are starting on Miramar, guys, and that's what I really want to talk about a little bit because it does really mean that we're going to be seeing a little bit of a slower start. You know, always when we go into the group stage to the finals, we always see this kind of slow approach, and that is where Miramar is really enabling his team to take it a little bit more slow before we go to the wildcard maps and kind of throw around.
We've been hearing the murmurs of hot drops, maybe not on Miramar for a Twisted Minds, but we've been hearing that Petrichor and Twisted might be going head-to-head with one another in some of those other battlegrounds. So yeah, starting things on Miramar. Very exciting to see how this goes. Any final thoughts before we jump?
I don't think I'm getting spanked for giving away on socials. They just straight up said you can give them away to your community. They didn't say.
Right, well, thank you very much, gentlemen. It is time to get the
grand
finals once again for our PGS underway live from Shanghai, China.
Yo, what's up, brother?
Days becomes champ.
Nice. I'm down for that. We have a new giveaway on the Facebook over here. And on the Twitter, if you're on it. Probably not.
Welcome back to PGS 7. We're live here in Shanghai for the final stage. I am your host, Lisa. After 3 thrilling days of group stage battles, 16 teams
Lisa, can you teach me Japanese? I said hi. Hi.
Topped the leaderboard with a stunning 128 points, while Thurston 5 and Petrichor Road scraped through after a hard-fought race. We've also seen some fresh faces like Taikula and Forest Nature Gaming making a strong debut
Lisa,
on the PGS
hold the
stage,
mic like an inch further away from your mouth, and then we won't hear the breathing.
Now,
and
with $300,000 on the line, it all comes down to this.
I didn't watch the United game. I was doing something else, but I did have the Tottenham game open. So I kind of saw it mostly. But yeah, I didn't watch the United game.
不要来轻易触碰我们的跳点，不然我们让你知道什么叫残忍。 저 이제 PGS 선수들 중에 제 연장자이지만 그래도 끝까지 연장자인 만큼 멋있는 모습 보여드리도록 하겠습니다. 감사합니다.
With the mistakes made in the group
Wow.
stage, we are coming more stronger right now for the finals.
Цель изменилась. Наша цель это
This is opening ceremony now.
двух PGS 7 и PGS 8 это войти в топ-3.
And a live for New Happy. The antenna shot is going to go down. Just one member and BB team.
저희가 불안한 모습을 보여줬는데 그 불안한 모습을 이겨내고 꼭 우승할 수 있는 모습을 보여드리도록 하겠습니다.
就觉得我们可能离那个奖杯已经越来越近了。I mean, I think we're just having fun because we're winning. Like, winning is always fun, even if it's group stage or finals.
就我们的地盘上面不允许有别的队友来就干你。
Now make it 3 for 1 in favor of TKL. TKL
Ba-boom.
dispatching T1.
They ass down. What do you think? 3-1 lead for Tottenham going into second leg. Is it enough?
17, or do they want to take the scrap with Lippis? Able to dodge it.
ตั้งแต่พี่ทิวเข้ามารู้สึกว่ามีการพัฒนามากขึ้นมีการทำอะไรหลายๆอย่างให้ทีมมันพัฒนามากขึ้นปีนี้เทศผมว่ามาแน่ครับจะทำให้เป็นแชมป์ทุกรายการให้ได้
Ну, я думаю, уровень с каждым годом растет, от турнира к турниру появляются новые команды, которые в форме, но и мы тоже пытаемся не отставать. Мы все время улучшаемся. Посмотрим, как будет. Мы тренируемся на таких турнирах, мы хотим победить, но в приоритете у нас более значимые турниры это ИВЦ и Global, конечно.
Bọn em thì cũng đã từng vô địch PGS rồi và
Not the
team rất là cao nên
coolest background.
những cái giải thế giới không có giải nào bọn em nghĩ là bọn em sẽ bị loại được. Việt Nam vô địch.
Vietnam vô địch.
Với tư cách là nhà vô địch PGS 2024 thì chúng tôi sẽ trở thành nhà vô địch PGS 7.
Damn.
Welcome everyone once again to beautiful Shanghai, where we have the stage is set, the grand final for this PGS 7.
We almost had it.
Is ready and raring to go. I am Porosaurus. Joining me once again is Paper Thin. And Paper, we have had just an amazing group stage, a lot of surprises, and a lot of individual solo heroics. I can't wait to see what we have in store here today.
Yeah, no doubt about it. This has been a great PGS so far. We've seen some
okay,
really
it's just a problem with that
really
mic because now
obviously Daytrade is going to be the first on that list. You know, having one of their best performances. No, their best performance ever. Who am I kidding? in a two-day lobby like that.
Yeah.
And so they're all eyes on them. Like, can this Thai team keep that momentum forward? Or is a team that was dominating their region, like the Freaks, like Petrichor Road, gonna show up here today and destroy in our finals?
It's asking so much for a team like Daytrade, a team like Twisted Minds, teams that have been here before, that have done it before, to repeat those insane performances, especially when you consider the lobby that we have now feels so incredibly strong. Even the newcoming teams, teams like Force Gaming, Taikula, are all popping off as well. So it just feels like this one's going to be even
Will
harder.
Daytrade continue to burn bright?
It does
okay,
feel
well,
that
was
way.
written in a different language and then Google translated,
PGS
wasn't it?
Defending PGC champions in the Expendables as
Left side headset,
Clory's
not good.
Continuing to look like an absolute god, just the MVP of PGC. Not missing
got
a
some
beat
weird
so far. So
audio.
Who's going to step up? Are we going to see Example pick it up? We saw him be a little bit weak for Twisted Minds. He is generally a player who shows up for those grand finals, a multiple PGS MVP himself. A lot of those teams are going to be kind of on everybody's radars, like the big names. Are they going to be able to show up here?
Well, you talk about consistency. I mean, you go back in time and look at the historical
Go back in
performances of
time.
these big-name players.
Oro, put the wire behind your
Example
shoulder,
stays
brother.
At the top of the list, right? I mean, you look at almost every single one, 35 kills.
I know you're
5,000
a
to
fucking
6,000 damage
giant,
every single
but
one. You can
come
set
on.
your watch to it. It feels
It can reach.
crazy to think that they would do something other than that, even despite the slow start. But we are ready to go and get into this first game of these grand finals on Miramar. The boys are ready. You can hear them in the background.
The boys are very ready. It has been loud behind us.
They're letting them know, man.
I love it. The beginning of these matches are so cool because you can just hear so much commotion behind us as everybody's just kind of talking about the game, how they want to approach these scenarios, you know, what they need to be looking out for, you know, going over some of that last-minute prep as we get ready to drop here. We are going to be starting out on the Dusty Dunes of Miramar.
Yes, sir.
And I think we need to keep our eyes on Petrichor Road. They are not going to do it.
Nah.
We were lied to, Poro.
They were never going to.
I heard there was going to be Power Grid.
There's, of course you heard there was. I feel like we hear almost as much chest pumping and letting everybody know. They're just trying to get into your heads a little bit early, but Twisted's too old. I mean, they've been around too long for that. They're too old. They're not going to fall for that. Okay, yeah, I know. Funny, me of all people saying that somebody's too old for. But Twisted, I mean, you're not going to get into their heads like that, man. You got to come in with something better.
But I want to say this. I think Petrichor Road is 100% making the right decisions here.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think this is a team that wants to win. They won PCL. They're on the right track.
They're too old.
You know, Aches Left is hungry. I know that for a fact. And so this is the better decision. This is the decision that is going to potentially win them championships. And this isn't that different from Power Grid. That's less of an ideal circle to start. But this one is going to be centered sort of around Chumacera. So teams like TKL, who don't have to contend with T1 in this lobby, going to have Chumacera to themselves, should have a lot of free picking on some of those compounds that are going to be south of Power Grid. That's where a lot of these teams are going to be looking here early.
Yeah, we saw a circle kind of similar to this that a few days ago in groups that ended right around where 17's 7700 is.
Oh, what is this doing here? That should go bigger.
We'll see if these teams decide to play it out remotely similar to that. Furia, one of our Pride of Americas, one of our 3 Americas teams that have made it to this grand final. And gotta say, they've been impressive. Gazera particularly has just been lighting up the charts.
That's why you bring him on, right?
I mean, yeah.
He's a fragger.
Absolutely.
Always has been. And that's something maybe this team felt like they needed at the end of last year, right? Like, we knew that they could be consistent in some okay macro decisions.
Okay, TKL banger phase 1 for them. They have their like stupid massive Chumacera split again. 17 have a pretty solid P1 as well. Out of Picardo, a lot of free space. BB as well, if this goes anywhere west to their Chillaxin.
I think they could do well. I hope they do.
Day trade is not too bad as well. They have like
I think that they've been playing
South Wrap for free.
Last year when they were Luna Galaxy, they were doing everything they would do just enough.
17 chose piece. I don't think it was 17's choice.
They got a whole bunch of international experience. They learned
17 will just defend Picardo with their life.
And they end up bringing in a big time fragger in Gizera, and well, it's been good so far. So now it's just all that's left is to find that performance.
Oh, Delwyn. The Expendables are so split. He is hella by himself. He heard the car rock up. He doesn't.
Nowhere near this.
Do you not realize
I think he knows that there's one already in here.
He knows for sure. That blue zone grenade going to go ahead and force him to reposition. Oh, actually, that was the grenade followed by the blue zone grenade. But Delwyn on the move. The rest of his team should be arriving here very shortly, or at least 2 members. They still have Duck Shoes way off in the distance. So we'll see how the Expendables decide to play this. If maybe Delwyn could just escape, that might be a win here.
Well, you got Zilong, who just drove in for New Happy. That cut off the reinforcement of Tanvu. They didn't want to commit any more to this fight. A 2v2, they were thinking about taking it. They thought they might be able to find the advantage. But now you have to leave Delwyn to his own devices and hope. Okay, now they show up. They just waited. They waited to see what Zilong was going to do. Holding the angle, grenade out, but it's going to, I think, fall short there.
4-minute team fights.
Yeah, that's really aggressive for Tamu, but it doesn't matter because now 17
he hit that
has found an angle as well from the northwest. The third party comes in, and now the Expendables should have an immediate 2 knocks.
The fact this even became a team fight is kind of nuts. Like, Delwyn was so far off from the rest of the squads.
And they might get paid off for it.
Oh, they are just
run him down, Delwyn.
Really smart.
You need one bullet, brother.
The timing there. Good Delwyn gets ahead of the stun.
That was sketchy as fuck. He pulled out a sword off.
This is why you play confident. This is why when you take a knock, sometimes you don't just fall back. Try to hold the line. You push the other team because you're going to catch them off guard. And that's exactly what the Expendables did here. New Happy in tatters, down to just 2 players.
The Expendables coming in here playing like defending PGC champions. And right off the bat, they've knocked New Happy down to 2. They've got him pinned against the wall. 17 still looking over in this direction, so they do have to be careful. Looking around the map to see if anybody might be rotating in on this. And it looks like they should be safe to continue for at least the foreseeable future.
I just love the confidence that this team brings, no matter what happens. And, you know, you just have to love the way that Clories was talking about that game that he clutched out. Just said, I was sick of them yapping behind me, so I just wanted to shut them up. I mean, that's the kind of confidence you want. Those are the kind of players you want.
Absolutely. And
I think Clories is a cheat code. Delwyn got all the kills.
How many teams do you see make a push, their first player gets knocked from a third party, and they just stop? You know, pump the brakes, throw the smokes down, try to reset. But no, these guys just immediately kept pushing on. And now 16K and
Is Delwyn the best fragging IGL in the game right now? The correct answer is no, because Belmoth exists.
Beat it to death at this point almost, how difficult that position is to really push. Even when it is a 4v2, the risk that you take of losing a player is so high that it almost makes it not worth it.
Yeah, and especially in a spot like this where it's super early game, you know, and you'd have to commit a lot of utility.
That is some crazy shots for him to have hit.
To make sure you're clearing that building effectively. That is nasty. Oh, he threw out the gas can just in case there was somebody coming. I love that. Delwyn there, catching him flat-footed with the stun being thrown to try to delay him. Up on the roof, though, for December 12th, taking a bit of a confidence play. Hasn't seen anybody coming behind him. Now, we know, because we can see on the map, that Bestia is making their way through Los Leones right now. But so if he were to go up there again, have to be a little bit careful that someone might find an angle on him from his easterly side. And for now, I think this has calmed down.
Might be a little nervous about day trade, but they're still getting their ducks in order, it seems, after looting up in Chumacera. Not getting too terribly close. Taikula is also kind of hovering around in that area, but very split, so not really in a position to do any serious crashing. So it looks like the Expendables and New Happy will just be uncomfortable neighbors for the foreseeable as we check in with
Whoa, what do you
Road.
mean?
They've made their way into, at least duo, into the north side of Picado, and they left 2 on the cliffs overlooking.
Well, let's see if Petrichor Road is going to dust it up with Donawa, or excuse me, DN Freaks at all. And they are just taking their time, doing some diligence. I mean, still phase 1.
Yo,
again,
Patrick, what did you mean by that tweet, by the way?
Advantage you can find in situations like this, like find a little bit of a forward position so you can get closer to where the center of the current circle is. You can try to get some of those priority compounds. I mean, we see in the late games in where this circle's likely to go that it is that flat open terrain where the compounds are extremely valuable.
Should be Batulins? I don't think so. I don't think he's like the big fragger.
Teams are good enough that they'll crash you and crazy stuff can happen.
He doesn't need to be.
But that's kind of
you got example on your team.
general thought pattern that teams are going to be
Your tweet with like the how it started, how it's going.
That fight that we just saw.
Interesting.
What are you trying to say?
Seeing E-Arena having Lyrics up in the glider.
There's 2 ways I could interpret that.
You see very often on
It could be like, oh, what a nice throwback from like all the same commentators working together 7 or 8 years ago, and they're still working together now. Or it could be like, oh, they had this massive studio with a huge desk and plenty of space, and now they're 3 guys squished around a coffee table.
And as a result, Norins has taken that high ground for free.
Which one is it?
Meanwhile, Theraton 5, they're starting to make their way in just past Monte Nuevo.
Yeah, I think I'd like to just touch on E-Arena, and their macro game is really good. It's because of those gliders, I think. So I think, you know, they're our heaviest glider usage team.
Absolutely.
So they've been getting into a lot of late games. Now, their execution in some of those late games hasn't been flawless, but, you know, you never know. You could turn it on in one weekend and all of a sudden you're PGS champion. So if they could keep up that same sort of macro and find better fights, better micro, they can definitely make a run at things. This is Furia way up on the northern side, just to the west of San Martin. So they have some easy sledding. There isn't anybody that's really going to be on that road in their driving path for quite a while until you really get to T5. So it's going to be pretty quiet for them for the most part. But of course, have to do your diligence, have to look out on those high peaks to make sure there isn't an anchor player back there. And maybe you never know what a team might have gotten caught up in a fight or something.
And get a little look at what the pings are looking like from Furia there. And just all about everywhere, but all up in that same general vicinity, as the circle's going to go right down towards the dead center. And as you can see, pretty much every team, with the exception of maybe 2 or 3, have at least a foothold in this new zone. And already people jumping into their vehicles, starting to head that way.
Yeah. Just a throwback. Okay.
Duo, and yeah, you can see Furia, Forest,
Patrick definitely has never been a certified online hater.
Look like they have found a place to settle in for the time being.
I think this could be a pretty advantageous position for the Freaks. If that fight between the Expendables and New Happy kicks off, there's a chance they could third-party that, take that position, kind of use that as a staging point. The problem is if it doesn't, they're on the outside most likely of future circles. So they will be the ones forced to make a decision somewhere and forced to maybe start that fight. Plus you've got Bestia rolling up just on the other side of the road of Salute. So this is a little bit more similar to the Freaks we were seeing in PWS. Take up a lot of space, rely on some of your individually skilled players to just hold down compounds by themselves, but they weren't doing that during the group stage. So this might be something they get away with. Even if teams suspect they're in that vicinity, they might not suspect that they're leaving it so lightly defended in the case of Bestia with Salute across the road.
Yeah, well, that's the big question mark right now, is what kind of information does Bestia have on what's across the road from them, as we see Forest trying to make their way into that western side of Chuma, while the Taikula gang just kind of spraying around. They spot out Forest, Olympus also using that glider. So the APAC gliders becoming a thing here in the grand finals, as they have been through much of the group stages as well.
Yeah, I'm all about it.
All maps.
Especially,
why not?
Yeah, especially in circles like this. You know, if you can find that one compound that's been left open that people don't think is open or something like that, you can give yourself a huge advantage compared to a lot of the other teams around you. So better.
Literally nobody is playing the east side of zone. That's funny.
That glider gives you a lot of ability to be safer in your early game
There's
rotations.
no
of course,
other team bumping. New Happy and Expendables will sleep there forever. That's honestly, yeah. But that's how teams have been winning their games in this tournament.
Just turn and land using the gliding ability itself.
Teams have just gotten a lot better at like not throwing when they get hard-fed zones. So now it's just like the team that gets hard-fed wins 85% of the time.
Play from the brickyard, play up some of these mountains that are on the west side.
Not always. There was the game that Furia won, which like they had on day 1 of groups. They had really bad circles, but still managed to win.
Yeah, but with Two Heart
it was like
a I mean, I've been saying it. It's
3 man of Twisted Minds against 3 solos, and then
God with the DMRs,
Bago Pass solo knocks 2 of them, and then Furia won the 1v1.
I don't think anybody's always going for the
but mostly it's like if there's a team that has a compound, they just win the game. Like T5 game 1.
Stages on the map of PUBG or all of your tires, as Zeus will get a little couple of bugs crossing by his ear.
So it looks good for Expendables W game 1 or 17 gaming.
Have that 2-2 split. Looks like they're going to draw the 2 from the south side back into the middle, and they're looking great. All of a sudden, the Expendables still have this compound. Now, this compound is still good for them. They don't have to get involved in a fight just yet. They can still just kind of hold off New Happy for the time being. Now, Bestia might be another problem, as they're trying to find somewhere to go, and they're just cruising right on past. They're going to go cliffside, and it looks like that might be the stopping point for now.
Yeah, you can, in theory, hang out here, but your vehicles are going to pay the price, and getting out of there going to be tricky one way or another, but there really isn't much else available, to be frank.
It's not great.
No, most of the other compounds are taken, so Bestia trying to play a little bit more central earlier to see if they can get a little bit deeper into this game. Again, you can survive here, but with New Happy's position, it is going to make it uncomfortable for sure. And again, those vehicles not going to be in stellar condition when you're trying to make your move out of there. So that could become a problem.
Out, yeah, deciding that it's I actually don't like that spot. Let's go somewhere else. Let's go to the cool Walmart. They find a little bit of a dip here. They're going to lose Mime in the process. Oh, Mime is going to go down early once again. They're going to try to throw the smokes out, see if they can get that res.
That's rough.
If they can, that would be absolutely huge, because you know you want to have all for up as long as possible, especially when they're, I mean, they're in a
Anyone got mortars?
Considered dead center circle for the most part, and they
Any
have
mortars for Bestia?
They can be relatively safe.
That's the better spot, I think.
No, for sure.
We'll see. That is a knock for 2Heart. Just talking about the DMRs, he's still got it in him. I mean, it's crazy.
It's a 2Heart patch.
He is just an incredible sniper. Always has been.
God, thank
so
God.
Really excited that he hasn't really let go. I mean, he hasn't really been on a pro team and just kind of filling in for PO and making the most of it for sure. A pull up here for the Falcons.
Oh, H-Win with the Panzerfaust.
Got that Panzer looking for a target.
We getting ready?
His head, but doesn't take any damage for it.
There goes the Panzer, but it's not going to find its mark as Ixlep will
did
find
no
Kickstart.
damage with
Now
it. How did that even happen?
Going to crash in. We'll find a second before going down. Shrimzy still working the wall right now. Has that grenade in hand. We'll try to throw it over towards Ming Ming. Will land just shy as Ming Ming saw it coming.
Ixlep down.
Just caught off in the distance, it looks like, unfortunately. So not even really able to be a part of this fight.
This is not gone the way the Falcons wanted. That Panzer didn't catch its target, and then Ixlep found a great timing.
Holy shit.
Oh my God, Trinity.
Oh, imagine.
That is
Imagine that just landed on him. Holy.
And Chewy lining up with another grenade. If he cooked it right, Trimsy's in trouble. Bounces a bit too far. Ming Ming around the corner, trying to play off the stun. They don't know exactly where he's at. Now they find him. He is knocked. It's just going to be Tiggleton out in the cliffside to the north alive. Smokes out. He has a
Okay, Expendables are going to actually have to kill New Happy.
Yeah, this is going to be tough.
Or they try and drive up east and take the hilltop where DNF is heading towards.
Four-way split that they have going on over there. They've been watching all of this.
The rest of the side of the map really sucks for them, actually.
Look over in that direction as E-Arena will finally come in from that southwestern side. They're going to follow the same path that Bestia took, only they're going to cut in.
This path from E-Arena is like sketchy. They could have just played under the hills, but they're trying to go for the shack, but there's already a car there.
This is madness from E-Arena.
And now Zizzy is backwards.
Shizzy
What the fuck? He just drive-bys him anyway. No way. No way.
Down goes Bestia.
Wow, Bestia maybe a little bit greedy going for a big 2-2 split like that. But once again, E-Arena finding themselves down to one man with 3 knocked, and they're going to be able to get everybody back on their feet. I feel like this has happened to them like 4 times now. This is nuts.
Yeah, I mean, they had to make a move at some point.
Nah, 17 have no reason to move on this zone. That's the kind of thing that's like, maybe they would have done that if it was like a few years ago, but people are just like better at just taking 9-zone feeds now. So they just don't bother taking the risk. Like, it's not worth going, maybe get 1 point or 2 points from another fight. Just stay here and take 10 points for the win, you know?
They got Forest trying to scale their way up towards Daytrade. Daytrade very fanned out, pretty aware of their Western
TKL has a mortar out.
Initially, are they going to be able to defend this? Push is the real question. I think there's enough
Go
room
for Bestia, I think.
for Forest to kind of get into some of these cover positions, get into some of these crates that are inside of that compound. And there is the mortar. I saw him flying in the air. I was wondering where they were going.
Yeah, you got to imagine they're going right on top of Bestia. That seems to be the easiest target, but it looks like
no, they go for E-Arena. Why?
Unfortunately, E-Arena.
They're literally in a shack. They have cover.
Comfy shack is Thanadol will find Scappy to start things off. Tries to follow it up with the grenade. We'll see if it lands. For the flush, it lands pretty close.
Running out far enough to get a blue zone grenade in there is going to get you killed. So
that's something that I feel like goes.
They can always do that later when there's less people on their side of zone.
With this utility, if you're going to be
they can just go and nade them after like DN Freaks and Expendables and TKL have all moved.
Get those grenades up to really dissuade Thanadol from trying to make those throws to try to go for that flush. So they're going to lose a player for it. A bit of a misjudgment on the other side of things. A run out here. We didn't get to see this on screen. This was the potential end of that battle between New Happy and the Expendables, and look at the way they play it.
Hey, look at him! Look at him go!
Expendables take him down in
so
the long run, 4-0.
Give Delwyn 3 of them too, and you want to talk about aggression? the Expendables, they leave their compound and they push down to the south.
So like they could maybe do it this zone.
They can maybe third party some more fights.
When DN Freaks, Expendables, all of those teams have moved. If anyone else crashes the shack, then they could do it now.
They're gonna pull in to the smallest of ditches.
But only when everyone on the high ground is gone, otherwise they just die for it. Oh, GG. Bye-bye, Baron.
Goodness gracious.
It's a funnel for these grenades. I mean, you might not get the flush there. You're going to have to bounce one a little bit closer to the lip, but could potentially be doable for Taikula.
TE had basically two choices. They could either just play under the cliffs, which isn't great, or they can just go and try and get kills. And it's TE, so of course they go and try and get kills.
3 still up there. Delwyn taking a lot of damage. He's got the blue zone back though, so going to be a-okay. There's a fight happening in the bottom right there between TKL. They just want to finish Forest out, clean them from their little ditch position. Day Trade looking to make a move.
That is a unstoppable force meeting an immovable object in Day Trade, and the Expendables right there, as Forest will eventually go down. Taikula not wasting any time. They might not have had a lot of utility, but now Day Trade is going to be running in at the exact worst possible time for them as they went down into that ridge to go clear out Forest. They've left themselves a little bit of an opening, but Delwyn
final stage total damage top 5.
Out from range. Big spray from him as he spots out a con now as well.
Man, he is on fire to start. That's another one.
650 damage for him so far.
I was just gonna say he's pumping the damage out. What a Chad, as the Expendables trying to take more and more fights. I mean, I love the way they're playing this. They know they have nowhere to go in the circle, so just look for the battles, look for the chaos, and see if you can drive in it, because that has been their MO. Tanvu up on point. Delwyn is going to get knocked by 2Heart from range. So Tanvu just going to turn his attention to the TKL players in front of him.
Looking all right.
Getting loose with some frags, not really finding much of a connection. I assume that's Bagel Paw or somebody harassing TKL as they're coming down that hill. Meanwhile, the last Day Trade player, Tanadol,
oh, he saw
just chilling, looking to see if he can get a freebie. Tanvu, though, wise to it and gets the finish. 7 kills now for the Expendables.
Expendables just come in mid-season form already. They are down to just one. He'll swap over to
I don't know. Don't know if the Pumpy's gonna help him here.
Lay down a few smokes.
No one's pushing this house.
That little ditch there where TKL
unless
is, and
he thinks that they're in
to cause some chaos. And the new circle does pop.
The house next door. He's gonna push them.
From the compound to 17, and you want to talk about flat.
They're definitely gone soon, but like, if this is what they're doing on a bad game where they die pretty early. They still get 7 points. If 7 points is a bad game, you're winning the tournament.
TKL took that spot away. That mortar is into Narnia.
If every time they have a bad game they get 7 points, no one's gonna beat them.
Maybe a little misinformation on that one.
Yeah, if I was playing golf, that'd be in the water there. That's for sure. Bagel Pot gonna try to move up on top of this hill. They've still got a couple players trailing behind them to watch TKL and the remaining players of TE. So they want to make sure that the back is clear for those forward too. So a lot of pressure here onto 2Heart and I think Akan there to watch. There's a pull-up from Pero.
Yeah, Pero tried to crash into Twisted Minds, but TM was ready and waiting.
Batulin's
down to just Chewy 7-1, who's off in the distance as the mortars starting to fall and land just a little bit shy.
Oh, he died.
GG. Will go down to the blue, so he
Hello? He just died. Suze.
To anybody here is TKL. They have
read the kill feed, bro.
They're going to get on the move here pretty quickly as well. And where do you go? I mean, Chewy going to go down to the blue as well. So, okay, we're down to our top 10 teams. But where do you go if you're TKL? You've got 3 up, but I don't think they've got any vehicles really surviving after that conflict down there.
No, I was going to say you'd love to third-party something, but you're exactly right. If they don't have any vehicles, there's no hope of doing that. So they just have to try to fight their way through Bestia and Bagel Paw and hope it goes well. But Bagel Paw has been mostly playing this smart so far. Park Pro there covering the move up. This is great. Just cover and move stuff from Bagel Paw. And they are keeping TKL completely pinned. I mean, at this point, it may just be a go down to the blue play.
Yeah, it looks like what they're going to opt for here is they'll try to survive a little bit longer. They're putting all
like
their
17 DNF.
in one pocket. And the lucky
maybe Twisted Minds.
So we'll see how
they're in a weird position though.
They're in a little bit of trouble.
They kind of have to play the north side. If they can't win this fight against DNF, they have to play the north side, and they're exposed to T5. T5 is only a 2-man, so they could just win that fight.
But now 17's going to lose Lil Ghost, and now
yeah, 7 is pretty good.
Stepped up, and he's getting involved.
Oh man, he hits the biggest grenade
for a game where you don't get top 8.
The Freaks enough time to stabilize.
It's not really a salvage game.
Fight between Twisted and 17. Instead,
but it's like it's not their
up on the hill. Shizzy gets a good angle. Gonna find the knock as well. 7-7. Meanwhile, keeping Bestia.
Maybe it will be their best game. Maybe they only get 3 points a game for the rest of the tournament.
From Salute finds 2 of E-Arena.
I was about to say I love E-Arena flexing out from their little shelter location to go and get involved in 3rd and 4th partying this fight. But boy, they just ate a grenade right to the face as DNF will try to reset, get in there, try to collect their kills, and they will do. Actually, no, they're going to lose.
DNF are just scrapping everyone right now.
17, they're still 4 strong.
T5 killed off Furia too, so they can actually. Or he died to zone maybe. Whatever. So they can actually stop pushing. If they could, if they go. They go to the east now. They get some kills.
From 17, they're going to get a couple flushes there. As the Freaks are falling apart.
Everyone has rank points already.
This sandwich between them
because we're in the top 8.
Twisted Minds is just not going to plan. They weren't able to do enough damage quick enough. Meanwhile, Bagel Pot still chilling out on that southern flank. Bestia taking a fight again. TF Salute trying to hold the line. Wants to go for the flush. Gonna be denied.
8 teams alive.
Almost pulls off that open field deployable cover play. We've seen it.
Okay, T5 can't
so
get out.
Many times so far this tournament. I'm sure we'll see it again as Batulins will finish that meal, gets Xiaobei, and gets another point for Twisted Minds. Got to give credit where credit is due to 17. They stuck around. They hung out. They did not get involved in this fight
rank
until
points
they
while there's
felt
9
like
teams
they
remaining.
had the numbers. And as soon as they push over, they started collecting a few more kills, but they do lose one there. A 2-man Twisted Mind is still just as dangerous, and they have to be careful about how they approach this.
Yeah, Bagel Paw was trying to find the move, the timing of the move, and instead they got shredded by a bunch of different teams. They get 6th place in this one. E-Arena and BB Team.
Look at BB Team.
UI trolling.
8 kills. Again, is this not classic BB Team where it seems like we never see them on camera, and then all of a sudden we get to the late game, it's top 5, and they've got 8 kills, and they're in prime position for the win. They are
because they chill on the edge of the zone and third party everyone.
Side of this zone, and now they've got the most real estate to themselves. If they catch out Mime, that's the one thing I'm worried about. They got that snake in their midst. That last player from Bestia, that might cause them a problem. But right now we got to worry about 17 taking off Twisted Minds. It's not a hot drop. It's maybe a little bit late for that.
I mean, these 2 teams have been kind of methodical in this game. Taking fights, taking space, you know, with those powerful positions that they're going to play in these circles from Power Grid and Picado respectively. And now some blue zones coming out to keep 17 dissuaded. Just barely able to get back behind the truck is Batulin.
Oh, he said the thing.
Maybe some more utility. 17 gonna have to make a move here pretty soon. Here comes the util, and actually BB Team starting to shoot into the backs of Twisted. That's gonna open the floodgates. 7-7 out front. Already one knock in front of him. He needs to find the other player. At the moment, gets the flush. Looking for
people are complaining that like the observers
just trying to slow down
are doing a bad job because BB Team got 8 kills and we didn't really see them get any of them. But the observers are on the teams that are actually like fighting, and BB Team's just on the outside of it, third partying, stealing kills, last hitting their shots on people who are already like in gunfights. And if the observers just sat on that, watched a team who's 400 meters away from the action, third partying them, everyone would be like, why aren't they showing the actual fight? This is so annoying. Observers do such a bad job. Like, they literally can't win.
A little bit of prime time here. Maybe prime time?
They just say that it looks bad because BB Team is getting the kills because they're third partying and stealing the kills.
I mean, E-Arena can chill
But the actual fight, they're not involved.
And BB Team have to kind of keep each
other.
What
the fuck are you going to do?
Somebody's going to have to make a move onto this plateau.
Boom.
On the other side of this hill.
Is he blind?
Stuns are out. Blue, not much he can
he
do.
He blind. Top 4. Oh god, the Bestia logo doesn't show up on the top 4 thing. It's too dark. That's funny.
Rallying everybody together. I think they smoked off BB Team to make sure that they could make that push into Lou without having to worry about that third party from BB Team. So disciplined stuff coming out from these squads. This is high level PUBG right here in this end game.
I love
many
PUBG.
different scenarios at play. Everybody really just kind of avoiding that line of sight for E-Arena for the time being because they know they have that hard cover. Even though they are down to 2, they could do a lot of damage. And then there's always that wild card factor of Mime. Can he get involved? Will he get involved? And when will he get involved? There's a first knock comes through, but the trade comes out from Phil First onto 7-7-0-0.
7-7 going to be flush, though. A decent grenade splashes some damage into Xiaowu. He's looking for an angle on the other side. Lil Ghost going to play backside. Stuns are coming through. Not really bothering 17 too much in this position, but it might have bought BB enough time to get the res. Exactly right. Xiaowu just going to continue to watch that ridge line. A little bit of time here, but not too much before Phase 9 circle changes the dynamic.
Look at this. Larix.
This
is aggressive.
Yeah, this is, it's oh man, he's got almost no armor, no helmet left to speak of, but he had to make a move to try to go for that center dot while BB Team and 17 were preoccupied with each other.
Mime's little dip is kind of
The
juicy.
moment to push, he'll find Lil Ghost, but he gets traded down by Xiaowu. Xiaowu gets Phil First as well. It's all down to 1 for BB Team, and Xiaowu wipes them.
Oh
He's
God,
the last
E-Arena's
player
actually
up for
going to
17,
win.
though. It is a 1v2v1 for the win here. Does E-Arena know? Can they get the drop onto Xiaowu? And nobody knows where Mime is either. That's going to be a 1v1v1.
Oh, maybe not.
It's 17 versus EA versus Bestia.
A 1v1v1. Lyric still prone on the ground. Mime makes his move, but he gets shut down.
It posted
right
like fucking railed him. Holy shit.
Win. What a clutch from him. He comes through with big kill after big
Alright.
kill.
That's banging.
17 to their first chicken dinner.
Do you think these guys are not excited? Do you think they not feel the moment right there? They have just started off the grand finals of
Why did
PGS
Mime get up and just
with
start
a
sprinting?
huge victory, and
That's
one
so
that
weird.
was very, very hard fought. Like, that was some very tough.
What was he trying to do there, huh?
Oh God, yes. I mean, that was not easy at all. I mean, Xiaowu had to clutch up in so many different scenarios. I think he ends the game with like 8 kills or something like that. Absolutely crazy stuff.
I'm not sure if he got the kill on a Mime. He might have got the last 6 kills of the game, though. But that, I know he got all of BB Team, and I know he got the last one. Let's see what the desk has to say about that first game, though. These grand finals are started.
Solid though. Good shit from Schwadada. Ooh, alright, well we're hit. Go enter giveaway for free G coins today. Free G coin codes to give away today. This one on Facebook. This one on Twitter.
Home soil is holy here for 17 Gaming. They get themselves the first victory of PGS 7 Grand Finals, and that is a big one, especially since it was down to the wire between all of these teams at the end. We were popping up in the back, the team rooms were popping up in the back, Toffees. It was all on.
I for a second I thought it was prime time, mime time.
Almost.
He got up and just had nothing to say as E-Arena was waiting to spray him down.
It's like when you're holding your hand up and like, no,
exactly.
not getting anything to say in the classroom. Yeah, but he did get a lot of placement points there.
What?
Obviously the 5, that's a good clutch.
You got a PGS spray you won't use? Let's go.
The 2 versus 1 didn't work. They put
Drops
one
are
in the middle, kind of
enabled,
an off
guys.
angle, then tried to challenge Xiaowu DD. Absolutely not. He was on an absolute crazy
Don't worry, you can
run
get some
there.
other
So
things as well.
Many 1 versus 1s won,
Such as-
but also the BB situation for him. How did he pull that off? That was just crazy.
I actually don't know.
From
Oh.
17 Gaming, they could have technically tried to deal with teams
You
like
can
E-Arena
get
or
things
whatever,
like
right? But they were like, okay, no. What is our
PUBG
biggest
Global
strength?
Series Spray or PUBG Emblem or PUBG Spray or whatever this is. Shanghai Stamp.
Up to that point, they dropped in. They were a problem for everyone from the very start of this match, and they came
What do you mean by stamp?
with hubris and confidence across the arena today. We heard people talking before it started. You got to put 17 on your team. Like, these guys are going to go off uncontested. It's incredible what they can do.
I managed to grab one of the 17 players. It wasn't Xiaowu, DD was no Ghost. So, but still, uncontested, you cannot deny that 17 Gaming
Okay,
is
Batulins.
looking fantastic. And
Okay.
with this, sure,
Pretty
it's
good.
a pseudo Herm Turf ending for them, right? It's close, as you said, to where they are, but still, so many individual fights that they had to take, so many teams they had to remove, and it wasn't any teams. It was Twisted Minds, it was BB with a really strong position, and then some 1v1 actions there. Insane headshots from Shawu.
Exactly. I mean, the east side of the circle.
He's low as hell.
Look at that.
Right? We saw as Twisted Minds. What a pop off as well. Twisted Minds is over there. DN Freaks is over there.
Nice try, nice try.
Over there. Everyone's around DN Freaks, but they're causing so many teams on that side delay and not dying and then causing all these problems. There were big heavy hitters over there that just kind of had ramifications for the entire lobby.
You know, you bring up the heavy hitters that are over there, and to me that's the most exciting part, is a bunch of teams that were not necessarily as heavy hitting as I would have liked to have seen them in the group stages have come out in game one and shown themselves in the late game. Freaks, who was almost completely quiet, just sort of barely qualified, looked incredibly strong and stepped up and was playing well.
I mean, even just that clip alone, whilst we take a look at the numbers, really shows that game was down.
I really don't like how frags are the fourth grenade and Molotovs are first.
That was down to the wire. What a way to start off.
Frags and smokes are the most important ones to look for.
Oh yeah, there's nothing to do. Like, he just shook his head. It's like, yeah, there's nothing to do. I didn't.
The wire frags fourth.
Saw somewhat inferior position, especially with Shawu having that ridge. The way you can peek quickly on that ridge, the way you can reposition without giving away too much. There's 9 kills, guys. Almost the 1K club, 941. I wonder who's going to be our MVP from this match.
I wonder. Yeah, that's a huge performance.
Well, we're going back to following the rules during watch parties.
Yeah, only 207
between games. 5 push-ups. Let's go.
Points for me.
Wow, huge. All right, well, of course, yes, he will be our man of the match here. Well, Shawu, brilliant stuff coming out from him. He fills up the pentagram entirely. Nice. The average, a far cry away from him looking awesome.
I mean, it looks good. I think that this is, again, a team that if you watch group stages, you didn't get a chance to really see them go out and do the game that they wanted to play. This is not only home turf advantage, it's a confidence builder, and not just home turf in terms of where they dropped uncontested, home turf in the sense of they slept in their own beds. They came here this morning. They feel comfortable. This is literally home turf advantage, and it is blazingly obvious.
He had the least kills on 17 Gaming in the group stage. He had 6. Now in one game, he gets 9 kills, guys.
That's massive.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, of course, at the same time, though, they get themselves 22 points.
Wow.
Also, I would say as well, do a little EMEA thing for a moment, a big game for BB team to start things off. Martin, this is a team that I have been saying for a long time as a roster can win an international championship.
I got to point out, the entirety of EMEA is in the top 4 in this game, guys.
Yes!
All 2 of us. But yeah, Arena, you know, last year they were able to do it. They were able to step up. They were able to do extremely well. Here, they get the kills. They get themselves into a good spot. They fight their way through it. And sure, they had that northern side. If 17 Gaming decided to go on that side and clear them out, they'd have been in. But as you said, it is the winning move to take on the strongest force first.
For sure,
and see
for sure.
How far can we get?
So all of EMEA in the top 4 for our first game. All of America's in the top 16 for this game, Toffees.
That hurts a little bit.
Sorry.
Mine was there at the very end.
He was.
Let us at least have that.
And then he got up, and then suddenly everyone was like, get him.
Everyone's like, where'd you come from? No, you mentioned the team, and I do want to stick to that. I love watching these guys play. You know, you said in the green room, I think this is a team that has a championship on the upcoming.
I think so,
and I think so, but it's because they sort of like quietly run this macro game that you don't really see coming, and then boom, they're up in your face. And I will chalk it up to, they were talking to us earlier today, and they said they ate a bunch of mealworms yesterday. They've been enjoying mealworms for dinner, and so that maybe motivated them to get the victory.
They may have not realized.
I don't think, they didn't know.
But in the fried rice that we had, they had the same fried rice, and we know it was.
It was good.
Tasty. It was crunchy. I gotta say, I enjoyed it a lot.
was a bit confused, and then he told the rest of the team, and they were also confused. Just saying.
And maybe they realized, guys, look, we're fragging out, we're killing a lot. Maybe they have to go back tonight to continue the performance for the weekend.
Maybe that's the secret, right?
The mealworms of the lobby, they continue eating at everything. They continue getting the kills here and there.
We joke, but we did eat it, and it was pretty delicious.
Well, let's take a look across all of these teams as well. I do want to bring up the fact that DN Freaks, as much as, you don't get too many points here, oh my days were they a thorn in the side of those teams on the east. I brought it up earlier, and for them to be able to delay teams when I think they should have been absolutely crumbled on, it shows that they're able to really be resilient, and there is still the chops there for them to really go far in this final.
Yeah, I guess the question, though, is when we see them get into the way of these things, they're not walking away with tons of kill count off the back of that. So are they being a roadblock, or are they being a speed bump? And I think that's where the rest of the day is going to be answering this question of, are you ready to be a roadblock?
You have to remember, they're taking on 17 and Twisted Minds. And there was 2 really strong teams, and they're holding their back quiet, respectively.
Miramar again. Let's head over to the commentators. Game number 2 underway here. PGS 7.
They got the fucking smoke effects right in their face.
Jerseys. They've got the home cooking buff, and they've got the first win of these PGS 7 Grand Finals. 17 Gaming start off strong, and now we are ready to get into game number 2. Once again, I am Poor Source. Joining me once again is Paper Thin. And Paper, that was some clinical stuff there at the end for a circle that was 100% playable. I mean, that's a fairly slow early game, but that erupted very quickly.
Yeah, it has to, right? Because of the nature of that circle, there's just not a lot to work with. And, you know, BB team and 17 able to fight their way through. 17 doing a good job managing their timing, able to weather the grenade barrage that the Freaks sent at them. They played their positions really nicely, leapfrogging from spot to spot, and then winning a couple huge fights, you know, kind of sandwiching a couple different teams in front of them, and then winning that clutch for Xiaowu. I'm sorry, it wasn't just one clutch. It was many clutches.
Let's give it a few. Yeah.
And that is just a thing of beauty.
Yeah, give the man his flowers. I think he might have wiped all. I'm not sure if he got by him. I'm still not sure about that one, but he got a bunch. He definitely got a bunch at the end there. But you know what? Don't let that distract you from the fact that BB team found themselves in the end game once again. A bunch of kills, and they're kind of coming off a really, really good day, their final day of group stages as well. So this might be BB team finding their footing and getting going. That's kind of scary. For
Getting
a lot of people
pretty close
really
with Bestia.
Circle looking to be much more south, so
that's
almost
sketchy.
certainly getting a different end game circle.
You would hope.
Almost certainly, but yeah, I mean, you've got to be so impressed with BB team. Just their consistency, getting to these events, playing well. I mean,
go.
maybe this is their time. Maybe them
Day
playing
trade
together
circle.
like this
Easy.
for so long now. They're finally finding their groove. Besto's playing some of the best we've ever seen from him. I think he had 4 or 5 kills in that last game. So this is a scary team.
What the fuck?
Everybody's going to be having them on their radar. You know, whenever you see them
What?
in kill feed, because you know.
Why did he pull up here with no gun, scouting?
They absolutely should
What's
be
he scouting for, bro?
team, or you can watch the multi-view with any of these.
What is he doing?
Pick your favorite Chinese team.
No.
Dylan?
Biased.
What is he doing?
Although I would have loved to have been watching 17 stream.
I mean, that
had to be nuts.
Yeah, I mean, especially, they had a pretty interesting game from the jump as well, with the kind of third partying on that little action between the Expendables and New Happy. The Expendables.
Why was he doing
that?
that
Going
for?
out a little bit early. That was some pretty scary stuff from them. They looked very confident pushing around the edge. I mean, even going so far as to just go out into the zone to try to third party on where they assumed there would be a fight. There was no way they knew a fight was up there. I think because they were down below, right? They had to climb up the hill to get there. So I think they were just assuming that there would be players fighting around those compounds, and they went up there to get a piece of it.
Yeah, they recognized that, you know, this was probably an untenable situation for them in terms of trying to fight west or north. There just isn't, again, a lot to work with out there, so the better
You get the whole Schwooded frag movie.
You know, take
Damn.
third-party fights, just let chaos reign.
Yeah. You got all of
that's
them.
where they thrive. You know, you saw how confident they were right out the rip in that fight against New Happy, so why not continue that? And I think it's 100% the right decision. They still come out with 7 kills, 7 points a game is good. It's, yeah, usually not enough to win you championships, but it's a good start, especially given the way that game started for them.
Just got confirmation in that replay that Xiaowu did, in fact, kill Mime. So he did, in fact, wipe the entirety of the last 3 teams in that lobby. So big W there for Xiaowu and all of Xiaowu's fantasy owners, as that is a nice little pickup for them. Sitting in first place overall with 22 points. But we have a quick interview with Day Trade's Flash.
รู้สึกเยี่ยมครับ ก็ดีใจมากครับเพราะว่าทีมเราเล่นดี
Take it behind him.
เพราะว่าเล่นได้เยอะมาก
What is this?
ก็น่าจะเป็นเรื่องการเชื่อใจกันมากกว่าแล้วก็มีสมาธิแล้วก็
that's
ไม่เครียด
tenable.
ไม่กดดันครับก็ถ้าให้10ต้องให้10ก็ให้เท่าไหร่ให้10อย่างให้10คะแนนเลยครับคิดว่ารักษาได้ครับเพราะว่าทีมเรามารอบนี้ก็มั่นใจมากเลยครับก็อยากให้ทีมไทยทุกทีมแล้วกันนะครับได้เข้าไปเล่นในไฟนอลทุกทีมครับทีมไทยติดตามเชียร์ด้วยครับ
Well, he looks like he's feeling pretty confident, as well as his other 2 arms. You know, they're feeling pretty good about things, as they should. They came in here on a red-hot streak.
I love that. That's so. I mean, that just shows you how good things are going in the team when you can have fun with each other like that. but certainly
that was
they were
Tigger,
just
right?
crying. I mean, out of control. Still, even, you know, four points for them in that first game, not bad. Again, a lot of these teams are faced with those situations where there's not much you can do in that circle. E-Arena, by the way, we haven't even talked about them, makes a great move for that Shack to kick Bestia out of it and gets themselves 14 points to boot out of that game. So really good decision-making from them. Again, good macro, results in good points. So that's what you're kind of looking for E-Arena.
Whoops.
Twisted Minds is Twisted Minds. I mean, they are, you know, they are who they are. We know who they are. We know who they are.
They are who we thought they were, and they are good. And only got 7 points off of that one, but that's still, you know, nothing to be ashamed of when getting into that late game. They were put in a really tough spot there up against the wall and managed to survive for a pretty long time. This Chewy getting a little bit close to the
Did he lose a tire? He lost a
The
tire.
tire goes out, and Chewy's all by himself. Can land one shot, but
R.I.P.
Duck Juice
dog.
will get the last laugh as they will collect their first point of this game number 2.
This has to be pretty surprising for Petrichor Road. Driving through there, not expecting the Expendables to make this early setup on this position. You know, they're a team who you never know what they're going to do game to game. Are they going to set up a trap somewhere? Are they going to early rotate so they can set up a trap? Are they just going to run at you because they feel like it? I mean, they're just so confident. They can do so many different things. Their strategy playbook is so deep. They can play good macro. They can play good micro. They can be aggressive. They can wait things out. So they are a really dynamic team. That's why they're the defending champions for PGC. So that's another awful start for Petrichor Road, though. That is not something you want to have happen to you in the early parts of the game.
Well, we'll see how they do with 3. They're going into the north side of Los Leones right now. BB team, meanwhile, they've already found a little bit of a spot to play just to the south of Chumacera. They've got E-Arena, a big wide split just below them. Freaks, meanwhile, they're
man.
that southern road.
T, first blood, let's go.
We're wont to do in these past couple of southern circles. They like kind of like having that coastline at their back and playing uphill, really, and going to the north. They found success with it, so we'll see if they find a little bit more of that here in this game.
For sure. You know, that's one of the wins they got, right? Or the only win they got. And so they kind of understand that in this part of the map, there's enough cover. You know, a lot of times you always talk about how high ground is really good and gives you sight lines, blah, 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 blah. But in certain parts of Miramar, low ground is also really quite good because it affords you cover to make moves later and later in the game to kind of scale your way forward, right? And so that's why, you know, the old Na'Vi used to play that way a lot back in the day. So this is kind of that similar strategy, and I really like it. Plus, they're doing what they did last time, which is they're setting up an early trap if anybody else does happen to rotate down that road, because they know they're the first ones there. We saw it, I think it was against Pero yesterday, or 2 days ago. So that's kind of their MO for these circles.
Yeah. Just, and I think you're absolutely right. That particular part of the map, when there is no high ground to play, what do you do? And I think that you bring up an excellent point, like especially when you can kind of play on foot, right, and kind of make your way up. You can be on somebody's doorstep before they even know it, and you're well within utility range, and all of a sudden you're chucking grenades at them before they even knew you were there. So we'll see how Freaks plays this one out, or how the circle decides to let them play it out. As Bagopa, they showed us this.
They love this island.
They did. They showed us this little wrinkle in their rotations last time. They leave 3 on the mainland and send 2 Heart down to Partona, and get a little scouty action on what's going on just ahead of the rest of the team.
But this should be pretty known by teams like E-Arena, that this is the way BagelPod's been rotating. We saw it 2 days ago in the last day of the group stage. So certainly here in the finals, I could see that E-Arena at least considering something like that a team was going to come up off of one of those bridges. And you can see it there on your screen. I really like that we're showing this right now because that's giving you a good view. I do too. I really like this. And I'm curious if that's pings for where they anticipate people to be, or
that's the question.
Where they're thinking about going.
That is the question, because we saw a couple of pings that were right on top of areas that were being played by E-Arena. So we'll see if they get a little bit close here. Forest, Natural coming in from that western side, still playing that southern road. They've got Therton 5 just off to their north. You can see them just disappearing on your mini map there. But Therton 5 look like they're going north through Chuma, whereas Forest is going south. So should not run into each other, although Forest's first issue may come in when they get a little bit closer to that E-Arena Bago Pass split. New circle
Oh no.
Go far off to
Not
the
again.
East, we get a South Los Leones resort circle once
Alright, let's
again.
go.
So this is setting up
take
nicely
that,
for what we were
take that
talking
spot
about
where 4 AM won the game for
with
free.
Freaks.
Yeah, this is pretty similar
Get in there,
to
boys.
some of what we saw yesterday on Miramar. I actually had the opportunity to sit and ride along with the Falcons during one of these maps. I was sitting with Gunnar in the back room, and we were talking about almost this exact circle and kind of what goes on in this part of it and stuff. So it usually ends up going a little bit more south of Los Leones. Doesn't have to, of course. You never know day to day what the circles are going to do. They're random. But
5-6
in and
point
around that resort
game
area
for
are
DNF.
going to be the priority spots. If somebody has an E pickup left right now, that could be really valuable.
Every time they go South Coast.
Okay, 17 and Day Trade just passing ships in the night, but it looks like 17 will just continue on their way.
This is going to be interesting. They used to, old 17 like to take dips out and around this road, but they're continuing a little bit further forward. Maybe they're going to kind of sense that the resort might actually be open. Hey guys, but Bestia beat him to the punch a bit, so let's see what they want to do. There is kind of like a compound outside of the resort that I don't think anybody is in, so they could potentially take that. But a fight between the Freaks and Bagel Pa and Akan is going to strike first. Heaven sent right to his namesake, and the Freaks already a player down.
Maybe Bagel Pa coming in on that southern road. They caught Freaks as they were kind of in the middle of transitioning from doing that camp, in quotes, on the south side to starting to think about where they're going to play next, and they end up catching one out. And unfortunately for them, that's going to knock them down to 3. Of course it is, because we just got finished talking about how well the Freaks were set up for this.
Yeah, right?
It is what it is, man. Sometimes it happens. But Petrichor Road, after losing... how many have they lost? They lost 1, so they still
Hoping
are
for a
sitting dead
pot
center of the
zone.
circle. It looks like 17
Yeah.
have made a home just off to their south, but again, the terrain being what
It's-
it is, it could be right on top of each other, never seeing each other.
Not as bad as
is gonna get right
Miramar
involved.
Circle
Lil
for sure.
Ghost will have
If
to
it's a
do what he
pot zone.
can to keep them
They're
from
alright.
peeking that
They're pretty
ridge
fun.
line, but he's getting shot at by 9.
TKL are
But it
getting
doesn't matter.
honked.
Xiao Wu and Xiao Bei, they've got the utility on point.
This is beautiful. What a blue zone right in the middle of Taikula.
If that molly didn't hit the
Now you
roof,
got
that hit Spaceman.
trying to go for a
He
heal.
gets
Has smoke. Nope. It's going to be
kablamed.
Jacob.
He's dead
Might
anyway.
have saw him
GG.
go into it. Just kept spamming into that smoke, and he's going to claim his prize. Taikula goes for a pull-up onto 17, but cannot find enough damage quick enough to do much. And they have been thwarted. 17 holds the dip for now.
And you got to give credit to Lil Ghost there. Despite the fact that he didn't end up with any kills there, his job was just to make sure that they did not crest that ridge line free and just throw utility down right on top of them. He kept them from doing so, and as a result, his teammates were able to lob theirs right on point on the other side. So they keep all 4 alive. They keep their ditch, and they'll be safe, looks for the time being. As we see Twisted Minds, they're coming in with the blue. They've left Batulins way, way out, still kind of looking off to the east. I think they've got eyes, obviously, on BB Team, but I think they may be looking to see if there might be somebody coming from anywhere else.
Okay, the Expendables. Let's go. Delwyn, get your ass right back into that compound right the fuck now.
In a lot of the games yesterday, they were a little bit quicker
Delwyn,
getting in towards
stop shooting. Get in your compound.
A little bit further north,
You're winning the game if you just don't die. Come on.
Hardship, but didn't gamble correctly here. And
Look, Juice takes the airdrop.
Gunnar was telling me, the coach for the Falcons, that this is a tough circle to play.
Rosa 50
from
next.
That
Let's
northern edge, from the
go.
Los Leones side, from that western edge, because there's
Duck Juice is regrouping on Delwyn.
really hard to fight through it. So these central
Monka
circle
fucking
locations are
ass.
so valuable, and that's why you're going to see New Happy teams like that.
They're committing this
making
2-2.
dives early to try to get position. 17 already did it. Petrichor Road already did it. But
Listen,
New Happy is under the gunfire.
if they got balls
and actually it's gonna be
the size of Dalat, that's up to them.
That grenade didn't catch enough, and Clory's is good.
I would not be doing this 2-2 split.
Yeah, goodbye. Oh, Gizere going to steal that away.
But I'm not a global championship winner.
That's,
So
it's fair. All's fair in Love and War. And New Happy at least managed to get 2 through that gauntlet. December 12th in Zilong. We'll decide how they want to play this one out as a duo. They still have plenty of room to play around, obviously. In this, actually, the eastern side of this zone,
yay!
Really clear.
Boom,
here.
boom, 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 boom.
What, just
Boom, boom.
on point
See, look at the Molotov.
position. being that on
If this goes over the shack, yeah, I don't get to see it. Right, Jacob killed him through that. That's kind of nuts.
Nasty, dude.
Absolutely medium rare.
Fire.
That is okay. I'll agree with you on this. That's the best way to do a steak. Absolutely. Gotta love that down home cooking.
Nice. I got my drop.
Oh man.
My Shanghai stamp. I don't know what it is.
I mean, you were talking about it in the first game, right? And we saw it a couple different times in that game.
All you gotta do is sit here and you can get your drops too. Also, if you go to Facebook, there's also a G-Coin giveaway and on Twitter as well. Hooray, go into those. Free money in it.
Well, Twisted Mind's going to need a little bit of help right here as they finally have to make their way in from the north side. Unfortunately for them, Falcons kind of in a split position, but it looks like they might be willing to take this fight as the blue zone is still slowly arriving, and I think they didn't like the fact that they were getting shot at, or maybe they were getting shot at sparsely enough to make them think that they could catch these guys out, as they got a damn good read on where H-Win is. But where is everybody else? Example, still waiting for his opportunity to start popping off, as we have seen him do so many times before.
And this is a fight neither team wants. I mean, going up against, two of the best on the planet, you're not coming out of this without some losses, especially at this stage of the game, Phase 3. But Falcons has to dig in. They have to take this because they have other fights in front of them, regardless of what happens here. Same with Twisted Minds, unless they could just pull off. They're the ones with the opportunity to maybe change directions. It's just a question of whether or not they will. This is what we've seen a lot from the Falcons. They like to hold these northern edges. The compounds to the southwest of Los Leones in these circles are where they want to play, because they're going to be coming in late from San Martin. So they are really just going to have to dig in here. They need to pick up these kills where they can, and they're looking for the Twisted Minds players, and they're going to have the advantage with the blue zone right on top of the EMEA squad.
Yeah, it's not very helpful for Twisted Minds that they are taking some serious tick damage here while this thing plays out.
Oh, that's a bad spot to pull up, brother.
In the lion's den there, my friend. Unfortunately,
more like the Tiger's Den because of that logo.
Fury are going to send Haven back up to pick up Gizera and think about where they want to go next. Now, Forest, what they've managed to get through after leaving their cave location, they're going to try to crash right into the north side of Resort. Resort is occupied by Bestia, and it is hard thing to hold down that entire compound with 4 people. But right now, Bestia doing a good job as they'll find Scappy with that grenade.
All right, hold on, I take it back. Forest is going to be 16th place. By the looks of it.
Lucky there. That grenade is any closer. He's in trouble. Twisted.
They said Bestia.
Losing example.
They got 1 kill. Let's go.
Take it down. Batulin's looking for that flank angle. His counterpart, IGL, H-Win, well aware. Trying to keep the vehicles in a safer spot, so there's an exit path for the Falcons. But now they're losing players. Perfectix gets 2. All of a sudden, springing to life. And the Falcons were trying to backpedal, and Perfectix found the perfect moment.
Just beautiful teamwork on the part of Twisted Minds right there. As soon as Lou was forced to drop down, Perfectix pops up.
Yeah, oh, that's fucking sick from Shrimsy, though.
Absolutely read him like a book. And now Furia is out. Falcons have a foothold in this next zone. Well, actually, not even in the next zone. They still just got to find their way in, because Theraton 5, they have not left just yet. So it's a 2v4, and H-Win, well, wouldn't be surprising to see him running around with a Panzerfaust in hand, would it?
Nice molly from Shrimsy to at least force his opponent's hand a bit. Has taken a bunch of damage already. Get the headshot.
That might go down. Yeah, they got him low enough to where he go down to the blue zone. And Shrimsy, oh no, Patapong with the aggressive push. And H-Win will take out himself, but he'll take out Fluky with him. And Theraton 5 now in a little bit of shambles.
This might open the door here for Twisted Minds if they can find the timing, but they are pretty beat up from the blue. DL off screen finds a good grenade. Perfectix, yeah, it's just Batulin's the only one left for Twisted Minds, so loading up with whatever health he can. I'm just gonna make a desperate drive. Only 2 first aids left. I mean, he's got to find a dip, and he's got to find it now, but he hits the tree on the way down.
Big damage.
It was a little bit off when he drove off the cliff, and he's gonna pay the price.
Yeah, I think as you said earlier, for Falcons rather,
and
Twisted Minds, that fight up there.
They lost one, but they regrouped.
Neither one really could afford to take, and in the end,
They lost
go down
Tanvu.
early as we
No.
see the new circle pop. It's going to go northeast of Resort. BB team once again in a nice position. 17, they've got a nice position.
Overheld the 2-2 split.
The Expendables,
Didn't
they're
need
in a
it.
compound. This is not. I'm not used to seeing this from them. I'm used to seeing them running around with knives in hand, just screaming, running at people. But now they've got to stay inside their own little tower for once.
They're like the zombies in 28 Days Later. They're just running at you.
Like they look, everything was cool with zombies until you saw that first movie where zombies could run.
Yeah. Then
right.
you're like,
then all of a sudden, okay, now all of a sudden zombies are a little bit scarier.
You know what's interesting?
What's
I
that?
watched the first Romero
What?
movie, like the first zombie one from like the 60s. They could actually kind of run in that one.
Oh, okay.
So that wasn't like a.
Well, explains
it was
why.
actually kind of in the original.
Well, there you go. Explains why they were a little bit scarier
Yeah, I thought
earlier
it was
on. But oh
interesting.
no,
Okay,
Ixlef
good.
gonna
Yeah,
get
huge.
double teamed here from
Like to hear
Day
it.
Trade and BB team. Looks like he might be Resable here, and Nan's gonna go ahead and send it in, and should be able to get him back on his feet. T5 still in it. Padampong has not gone down, but he has eaten a bunch of blue zone off in the north side. He has not had to make that wild send just yet. Bagel Pa
Absolutely not.
getting everybody into this southern, southeastern side, really, and they've got a lot of real estate to play around with here, as it looks like we've got a big congestion of teams centered up around Resort.
Yeah, I mean, for Bagel Pod, that's a lot of how they played situations like this earlier. That's a good spray from Chaldane. 17 not taking their feet off of the
Get
gas
him,
pedal.
bruh.
Finding a quick flush as well. On to Nan, some good damage from Belmoth. And it is going to be Aches left. He gets knocked by Tanadol. So good combined fire here. From
Oh my God, he
Daytrade.
said
They want to
Paper
clear out
Thin
this
said his
northern
name
flank so they can
correctly.
take a fair fight against 17 if necessary.
Almost.
17 as well. Tunneled in towards Ming Ming.
All
Where do you
eyes
go?
on Ming Ming.
Where do you go, brother?
Technically, the correct way to say his name is Tanadon.
Neither one of those are teams that you really want to have. Oh, now Molodok, too. Why not have another one join in on the party? Ming
With
Ming,
an N
you are
at the end.
the most popular man on Miramar right now.
But, you know,
will
that's just
stay
like a
alive for just a
technicality.
little bit longer as the blue zone encroaches, and now Thanadol will flush out Ixlef, so it'll be all down to Ming Ming. And so far, Day Trade, 17, BB team, none of them
Who are
have
today's
angles on each
teams?
other yet, just because of,
What?
as we said, how weird that terrain is just south of Los
Look
Leones.
on the
Exactly.
screen, man. What are you
It
saying?
gets a little bit rocky down here. Ming Ming!
No!
What a
Whoa!
spray! Catches Flash as he's trying to retreat a bit. And that is
Body him
really
before he gets the
painful
flush.
for Day Trade.
Get him,
Tanadol
Tanadog.
Still trying to keep Ming Ming pinned. Is that going to be resible for Day Trade? Is 17 going to allow it is the question. Well, they might be
But
getting
missing your
out from
shots.
BB team, who
Patampong's
are
still
putting shots
alive?
into them. Ming Ming eventually succumbs to the
He's
blue.
gonna die soon.
Man, oh man. That guy just
BB, don't
does
forget
not
about
die.
teams like that.
He is a terror. Well, Flash back on his feet, so Day Trade back up to full strength. They still have their valley that they can play here as we check a replay of that Falcons and Sonics fight. And yeah, you can see, oh, they lined up perfectly for Perfectix here. Yep, instant double. And in the end, Batu, the last player left, and Molodok finishes him off. And
This rough
minor
zone.
concern on those faces, but you know what? We're moving on from Miramar now, boys. You don't have to worry about it anymore for the day.
Yeah, just dust it off. Flash does have the Groza, level 3 gear to boot.
Rosa with a
Nice
hollow
pickup
sight
for
just
Day Trade.
looks
He
awful,
actually
doesn't
made
it?
it out.
I'm pretty sure
Did.
Besto has
Shout out
seen
Patampong.
Patampong.
He's doing
They
a
know
nice
he's here
job
for
adding
sure,
some
no?
points. He might be a thorn in BB team's side, although I
think Molodok
see them
knows,
spinning
yeah.
around. Yeah, I see them keeping track of at least that angle of the potential of it. So did they see him coming in, or is it just good awareness, good understanding of the map on their part? Hard to say, but either way, you got to like the diligence you're seeing.
I think they had an idea that there's still one more, but they're looking over there, but they're not intently focused over there. They just keep kind of checking it out and then going back to look at. There we go. Okay, Patampong is down in 11th. BB team collects another kill, another point in the bag for them, as they still have a compound on this northeastern side, just out of zone. But right now, E-Arena trying to see if they can take the fight to Bagopah. Utility being sent over. Jacob will find Songjang, and he's going to go down to Larynx, as Warrens and the rest of the gang will continue the push, laying down smokes to start slowing things down, or at least keep their angle from the Expendables from being exposed.
And New Happy could potentially play a role in this fight. Jacob letting loose with a spray, but gets splashed upon by a grenade.
Oh shit, that's a good
one
nade.
from Park Pro is going to find him, and that's going to be the flush as well.
Nades are really hard to like land in this kind of terrain where it's like steep walls.
Right now.
So getting the knock and the flush there is kind of crap.
Who's going to keep them off of Bagopaw's back. Going to keep watching the ridgeline, but there's a lot of smokes in the way.
All these teams are cooked though.
Good angle right here. He's playing
just who gets the kill points and maybe the placement points if two of them die.
The Expendables haven't actually left
Holy
their
shit,
compound to get involved in this, but they, I think, reading the situation correctly, knowing
where'd your hit points
go,
bro?
They will most likely be in this late game. A lot of smokes, a lot of things.
What the fuck is he doing here?
He just wants to get right in there.
Holy
He'll go
shit.
down eventually. Bagopa is eliminated in 10th place.
And now Expendables just throws a nade.
Up here for Arena, and there's the grenade from Delwyn as he collects a few more points for the Expendables.
Oh, the timing, perfection from Delwyn is rocking and rolling here today. Tons of kills. Total PGS kills for 17, now up to 800. Your PGS 1 champions, the inaugural PGS, looking to repeat history here again. At the beginning of the year, DNF had to scooch out from the resort compounds that were to the south, trying to work their way up along the side of the hill. Have to keep their eyes up along that fence line. Never know when someone might strike.
There's a Lynx over there.
It's got that Lynx. Could do some serious damage to any team that's coming out of this resort. DNF would like to try to wait this out, just force a fight, and then get in there while Bestia is trying to deal with Forest.
Yeah, Bestia just kind of positioning themselves to take care of whatever comes out of this resort as best they can, but unfortunately Day Trade kind of has nothing else to look at besides them. They got one eye keeping an eye on 17 just off to the east, and everybody else looking down to the south. But they need to find a way to get inside this next zone because they really don't have anywhere else to go right now. 17 still has that compound where Little Ghost is. The grenades are going to come out, try to find Forest, but they're going to fall a little bit short here for Freaks.
Well, as they're coming down the hill, Day Trade's helping out the Freaks a little bit, but they have taken a ton of damage. That grenade just went a bit too far. The mollies are out now, right on top of Salute as he's finishing a heal. I think it might have clipped Gumin as well.
Oh my gosh, Deal.
They're in trouble. Deal. There's one right next to you. He's trying to jump over the guardrail to get up. They are getting harassed from so many different directions.
Anyway,
damage being done. The Freaks trying to press their way forward. Deal able to get ahead of the blue just barely, but how much longer can they hold on?
I don't know how he managed to dance around that Molotov as it was tickling his toes, but he manages to get the heel off and get inside the zone as the Expendables keep looking in that direction, and he's going to find another kill onto Bestia. Will go down eventually as Draft King comes alive. 3 up for Bestia. They make their way inside the zone as Day Trade now suddenly finds themselves just down to Thanadol. I believe it was a combination of 17, BB Team, and the Expendables all looking at Day Trade, and Thanadol just hiding out now on just on the other side of the hill here from Bestia. Do they see him? They don't.
Put my kid man.
Thanadol trying to do what he can, throwing every last bit of his utility. Almost runs out of bullets as he's tracking the Bestia players, and Little Ghost is there to collect. Mine was already very weak. That was easy money. Grenades, though, bouncing past.
See, that happens a lot when you throw nades. They just bounce off the ridge and go fucking miles past the guy you're trying to hit with them.
3 for the Expendables, 3 for 17.
Oh, Expendables, why did you hold your 2-2 split that long? It could have been 4 up.
BB Team back-to-back to start things off here. Or actually, not a back-to-back, rather, because 17 got the first win. But BB Team and 17, once again, will meet here in the end. But the Expendables, they have something to say still. They're playing on that
3
southern
points.
side. If they can get rid of Vinny
halfway to your prediction.
And just turn
not
their
bad.
full attention over towards the north. They have to worry about that snake, though. They have to worry about the eventuality or possibility of a wrap, because you
the amount of like south zones that we've had, you would definitely expect them to get more points on marijuana. Just like every single time they're just on the south coast. And every time it's like, oh, I guess we just can't play the game anymore.
Patience,
exactly. Just hope these other teams tear each other apart and you can come in and collect. You know, just be safe, be cautious.
I hate how the nades are in a different order on this screen than they are on the post-game screen.
Anymore if possible. Juice, yeah, okay,
Frags are on the left on this one, but then they're the 4th slot. Why? Standardize, man.
Crossing behind those hillsides, and that's about it. I mean, it's patience. That's the name of the game.
Stay away or stay alive. Delwyn has that little bit of high ground that he can muster. He's got it for a very short amount of time left here. Zaduzi going to get up close. He'll find Xiao Wu.
Sit his
That is
ass
a nice
down.
knock to get to start things off here. Delwyn will spot one
Oh,
off
get
at
down,
range, but
brother.
knows he doesn't have the time to really commit to that spray. Aduzi will back off after getting that knock on a Xiaowu, and that's going to allow Xiaobei to get him back on his feet. So 17 should be back up to 3 strong here, unless Aduzi decides to go
Halfway
back
to
in.
expectations
Looks
is
like he's thinking about it.
Absolutely should be. He needs to be that point man.
They just don't have the
an
utility, I don't
overstatement.
think.
It's
Yeah.
generous
They've had
for a lot
great
of the Korean
compound,
teams.
and that's got them here, but they just have not been involved in too
Since,
much fighting,
like
so
2020.
the utility probably sitting pretty low as far as BB team.
I think they're saving it.
Yep,
They have a few
three.
frags
Okay, there
left.
you go. You see it right there. 3 frag grenades.
They have a few, but my suspicion is they're saving it for the end game. You know, if they could find knocks with the guns, great. You know, if you can shepherd the rest of the teams away from them, let them do the damage. Xiaobei, though, is going to get mini. So Bestia, another top 4 finish at the very least. Phil first. Molotov going to combine there. Xiaowu trying to go downhill is going to be sent packing. Another player jumping into the smoke.
Fried chicken before game 1. It just showed up.
Turning their attention to the Expendables.
Yeah, the Expendables have that deployable cover. They
That's
don't even
dope.
have deployable cover. That's a crate.
I ordered some Vietnamese food, and we had some people over. And it was one of the ones, it wasn't pho, but it was similar, where it has like the broth, and you put like your meat and noodles and vegetables and shit in it. And they did not give me any broth.
Come alive in the end, and they take what is there.
Apparently you're just supposed to boil a kettle and put boiled water in, and then put everything in it. Well, that fucking sucks, doesn't it?
Close it out against 17, and instead they turn the tables and they find a chicken dinner in our second match of the day against the same opponent.
It's crazy how it works out sometimes, where you end up with almost the exact same teams. I mean, the only thing here, E-Arena from Game 1 was replaced by the Expendables. In Game 2, you still had that solo player from Bestia that was a wild card, and then you still had a full squad of 17, a full squad of BB team. They are so far on their game here today, and they've traded victories, and they will both be sitting at the top of the leaderboard after 2 games. But we are now done with Miramar paper, which means we are heading over to, I believe, Rondo. But let's throw it over our casters, our desk. They're not casters. Let's throw it over the desk to hear what they say.
Huge. All right, gang. Ignore this page. Giveaway. 1 on Facebook. 1 on Twitter. We're in the final stage now. So every day we give 3 codes away. 3 G-Coin codes. Who wants them? Go press these buttons.
BB team running it back as they get themselves to the top of the circle and finally get the win. After coming so close in that first game, it goes to show.
What the fuck do you mean 259?
Mealworm buff. Mealworm buff. Mealworm buff. Yeah,
This is after 1 game,
honestly,
right?
the way they're able to close this down on
How's that even
multiple angles
possible?
against Expendables, against 17 Gaming, and doing it against a 17 Gaming that just came off the high of a clutch of Xiaowu like that.
They were so
that is impressive.
Oh, I lost my
got
money
knocked down
again.
That first game, they took it personally. They're not playing like a bunch of hermit crabs. They're going out there and playing aggressively in the late game, finding territory. They spread out around that north side. They accordion back in, and they made some really good moves.
Yeah, just kind of crabbing along towards the edge of that little ridge line there. Very impressive stuff. You even saw just some of the frantic shots coming in from BBC at the end, knowing that 17 Gaming, where they were, wanting to shut them down through the smokes. So a bit of a banger of a game towards Resort.
I gotta say, I actually really love this area of how much terrain cover there is, how many dips and divots, and then this whole kind of ridge along this line, separating a little bit. When I saw that circle pop away where we had the northern side of 17, I thought it was going to be too much pressure for 17. There was too many teams close to them, it felt like. It felt like with Day Trade, they're going to come in and push them. We're going to see the Freaks come in and push. Nothing. They held it strong.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
And Expendables really turned the heat on them that they kind of crumbled.
The one was surprising to me that they didn't push on that position, but at the same time, I think they realized, okay, these buildings and the position that 17 has.
Let's go, gamers.
Let's try and swing down to the bottom.
It's over for these fools.
They're like, wait a minute, there's like 2 or 3 teams.
Yeah,
we can't do anything.
I think you also saw the shots coming out and the knocks they were getting up there, and you sort of think, well, I can go uphill against BB team on the back end, 17 here. Like this is either way, it's not going to work out great for me. So maybe I take a fight with a little less gun skill to go the distance. So 17's got to be having incredible confidence. Also, another one that we saw in that late game, Bestia once again sneaking into this top 4 to find points where they don't have a lot.
Sneaky. All right. Well, maybe they need some mealworms. They're going to get themselves 1,000 damage on the board, but I mean, sneaking in is good. That's
we
nice.
sure do this thing where we get one joke
and I think,
on a broadcast,
we have to kind of
and we just run it for the rest of the tournament.
In the previous game, Toffees, right? That actually, northeast of this circle, not too many teams really contending them up there. We weren't even really watching them for a lot of that game. And then you come to them at the top 4, and you're like, oh yeah, BB team's there again.
You know, whether it's in game or sort of even walking around the studio, you don't really know. They quietly make these rotations. They kind of just shift their spot, and then once they're there, you're like, oh my gosh, you know, you don't see Best Luck till he's standing behind you, and then you get shot.
Yeah, he does something like that. And of course, Molodok here going to be taking that number 1. He's also very quiet whenever I see him. He walks past me and he goes, hello.
Hello.
And that's it. But he's going to be saying hello to the man of the match for this one.
Nice.
Here. Fantastic stuff. This may end up being his first international LAN man of the match, maybe? Now that I think about it?
I'm not confident enough to agree fully, but it sounds good and right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Just agree with me. Agree with me, Martin.
It's a record now that he's here. The first record. No, I'm joking.
Martin, agree with me.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Whatever you want to do.
It's
historical. You're the analyst discourse. Yeah. But yeah, good to see him here being able to pull off this 6 here. The impact that he had. He was fighting on both fronts at the same time. So the other guys are kind of holding a little bit, right? So he was. The guys in the team enabled him. So he's able to kind of go in and swing around a little bit. The spot that he had was fantastic for that. But I will say this, them being able to take on both Expendables and 17 at the same time with this amount of impact was kind of insane.
Yeah.
Plus, they did not have an advantageous spot. They kind of snuck in there a little bit. They had that northern side. A lot of teams, they couldn't do it aggressively. They had to hide. They had to kind of play a little bit defensively behind some of the rocks. But it puts them 32 points, guys. Sure, 17 Gaming's in the lead right now, but look at the lead that they have down to second place right now. 12 points difference already.
I mean, BB team from a non-optimal position is able to defeat the PGS defending champions and the PGC defending champions. Looks like I think you might be onto something big when you say this. That this might be a year where BB team
Day trade, Arena, holding it down.
Shockingly good in 2.
Just a matter of time.
Just a matter of time.
Planting the seeds already, so this storyline.
Stack it up, boys.
Wait a minute, what do you
mean? We've got 25% of the teams in this lobby from Thailand, and 2 of them have 4 points between them.
Energy for 2
you gotta
years before it really actually occurred. So I gotta do another thing. For
carry the torch, lads.
Surely, Martin. Surely.
Yeah, I like it. And with how everything worked out in Miramar, sure, the early game was a little bit slower, but the late game was very explosive here. Sure, also because we had some kind of crazy, kind of curveball endings here. It was rare to see so close to resort. And sure, the other ending was kind of in the middle of the open, so the teams kind of fought their way in. And the explosive times was more in the mid game rather than the late game.
Honestly, a great primer for the rest of the grand finals, especially considering 17 in those 2 games looked awesome. And this is a team that is a PGS champion and so many times second place in international.
Yeah, I mean, they're one of those teams that sort of slow grinds their way into those wins. Usually just to see them start strong means that they're going to be able to really kind of play their game when they want to slow it down at the back half of this thing. To the converse of that performance, though, Petrichor kind of let me down on the first 2. And Falcons, despite one of the coolest little plays I've ever seen from Shrimsy with the grenade to blowing the door open.
Cheeky.
It was, but they just can't seem to make good moves into big points.
All right, well, we're going to go to a break. When we return, we have the wild card maps on the way here for our first day of the grand final. Stay tuned, more PGS on the way.
Powered by the most advanced WindForce cooling system, reducing temperatures while your competition sweats. For the flagship Aorus Extreme Water Force, premium liquid metal for GPU delivers up to 10 times better heat transfer efficiency and is accompanied by multiple layers of protection. This is the Gigabyte GeForce RTX 50 series. Play hard, stay cool, feel the chill.
All right, 4 minutes. I'm going to go walk downstairs, find a cat, annoy them for like 4 minutes, and then we'll be back. Stretch the legs out, innit? See you in a sec.
there is.
How much have you looted?
And see if we like hit players. Get 'em. Got good mollies on them. Got good mollies on them. I got them right here. Oh, he peeked. Nice. Careful. Heal up if you have to.
This one's low.
Corner him. Nice. One left. Nice, guys. Nice. No. Don't mess it up like that. We have to pay attention to the mobs too. The mobs will definitely get us. He's trying to run away. He's in the corner right here. Hang on. No, get away, Canamir. There we go.
W.
I think that might have been everybody. Let's go straight towards the stone.
Oh, wait. I saw a legendary stuff.
Yeah, this guy has a legendary. Whoever killed them gets...
All right, we back.
Welcome back, everybody, to beautiful Shanghai, where we have 2 games in the books, and now we are headed to the wild card maps to see who will
Great
try
timing.
to compete with 17 and BB team. They have been popping off. Paper thin.
Hot start. Love to see it. I mean, for BB, had a quick chance to talk to them in between the maps here, and they just said, hey, there's only 2 games. Yeah, we're playing well, but it's just 2 maps, so we gotta keep our momentum. Let's see if they can. A lot of other teams looking to play catch up because that is a huge start for both of those squads. Like, this is a very top-heavy lobby already, so you're looking to do some damage here. As it looks like we are going to be heading over to Tego next for our 3rd map of the day. And this one, we'll see. I mean, this one's been pretty mild compared to some of the others, but still, Tego can get spicy depending. We've had a lot of Western circles, so maybe we'll get something a little different today.
Who knows? All I know is that there's 14 teams that wish they were in the position that BB Team and 17 we're in right now, where they can play a little bit more freely, I guess, with a little bit more less pressure, less tension. I know that there's a number of teams that have started off a little bit slow here on Miramar. Would really like to use the opportunity to use Tego and
That'd
Rondo
be a waste
to
of everyone's
get that
time.
ship going in the right direction once again. Now, where will looking at the drop maps earlier,
you reckon?
there were not really any potential hot drops that I saw on Tego, but there are some close, like we'll call them warm, like lukewarm, so around that terminal area, for example, right?
Yeah.
So 17 loves terminal, and Twisted Minds loves looting around terminal. You wonder the possibility of, you know, these guys going for drops for cars or just accidentally landing too close in the same spot, if that's going to be an issue. I mean, they seem to have avoided it so far, but it's also only been one game, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think if I'm Twisted Minds, I might be looking for a moment to try to punish 17, either in a rotation or maybe a spot that they go to loot that you have a brief opportunity to get some long-range shots on them, where you can kind of catch them off guard. It might be a good opportunity to pull something like that out of your hat. You know, we know that the homework that these teams do is absolutely insane.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm sure Twisted at least
equipment issue
like that thought about. You know, it's in the wheelhouse.
Well, and then conversely, if you're 17, you know, you're not worried about missing any events, right? You got that global partner team status. You're looking pretty nice.
Yeah.
But there's always the potential of just keeping Twisted out, you know?
Could do that too.
It's always a thought that I think that maybe crosses these guys' minds. But again, we still have a whole other PGS happening after this 1 week later. So I don't think anybody wants to really make anybody too mad just yet when, you know, we've got to spend another couple of weeks here together.
You say that, and we've already seen grudges being held from the last PGC with T1 and 4 a.m.
That's fair.
So these players don't let go of that
Long memories. Long memories, I think a lot of these guys have. Well, the equipment issue appears to have been solved, and we are ready to head into Tego, and you can hear them yelling in the background as the smoke cannons pop off and the plane gets in the air. And good news here, at least, is it looks like
he smashed the table again, probably.
The only thing smoking is the smoke cannons. There's no fires coming off of this
What?
thing, so we won't see any flaming wrecks flying across the air this time.
What's he saying?
Not yet.
Not yet.
There's still opportunities for gliders to make your wish come true.
Exactly. There's always the possibility, right? Well, last time when last we entered Tego, we saw a circle end around that southwestern area, around that just east of Hosan Prison, south of Hosan. Actually, Hosan proper kind of ended up in those late game, I think maybe Circle 6, Circle 7, where teams were still trying to fight their way out. So that is where we were heading last time. Looks like this time the plane favoring a little bit more off to the north. So we'll see if we maybe get something different this time. Maybe Northern Island.
What's going on here, boys?
I like Northern Island finishes the best. Oh boy, that's a lot of damage being done. Tobago Pop from afar. BB team
busting him up.
Missing a beat. And Bagel Pop, well, you were talking about how some of these drops might get a little weird. Seems like some alt drops coming into play. Is Bagel Pop going to have to pick up?
The luckiest UAS or on Earth, I guess.
Hell yeah.
Just happened. I mean, if they did not have that, boy, they might have been in trouble. And there you go. Look at that.
We got it.
We got it. We got the Northern Circle, ladies and gentlemen. And that is going to make things very, very interesting, especially around those bridges. Now, we have seen more bridges added to Tego over the past year or so. So more options are available to get across. And then you always have the ever-present E-pickups, as Bagel Pie looks like they will manage to escape the wandering eyes of Sizzy. But now where do you go? They are on the North Island, at least. That's a good start.
Yeah. I mean, and there's enough compounds down here that you could get the loot that you mostly need. Yeah, so it's not the worst situation at all for Bagel Pot. You know, Park Pro, sure, takes about half damage, but that's not that big of a deal.
Who cares?
Yeah, exactly. In the grand scheme of things, it's just how far are they going to go? Are they going to go all the way to Hapo? Or do they want to just kind of do some trash loot in the area? It looks like they're going to go. I think they're going to go all the way to Hapo, would be my guess. While Irina is going to claim Hey Musa for themselves. So it is going to be a nice circle again. to start here in Wolsung for BB team, who has a lot of options on how they want to play this. You know, how far center do they want to try to go? Are they just going to try to take the mountain that's to the east of them? Is there a compound that they have a prio idea about? The problem could be that, you know, with the Freaks very close in Godom, this is a doozy and some other plays here from our previous game. Xiaobei really looking strong, but that spray right there from Molodok really just hamstrung 17 trying to get down that hill.
It really was a blink and you miss it type of end game, as Molodok got that last kill there, and then 17, well, the smoke went away, and unfortunately that was it for them. But fortunately for BB team, they collect that one. And you know what? Sometimes it feels like when things are going your way, man, they just keep going your way. You have this far north drop spot, and now all of a sudden you get the circle, you get your preferred way of playing this. So right now, everything coming up BB team. Well, another player that's having a great time so far is Xiaowu. We've got a chance to have a talk with him.
Hi, I'm Lisa. I'm here joined by Xiaowu Didi from 17 Gaming. First, congratulations on
nice bracelet.
800 total PGS kills for 17 Gaming. 首先恭喜17突破了 PGS 的800淘汰啊。So back to the first game, you pull off a 1v6 and still won the match. Just what was happening? It was too crazy. 那我们就回到这个第一局的1v6吃鸡，跟我们说一下当时是在想什么呢？
我当时什么都没想，就见到谁就打谁。
My mind was totally zero and just killed everyone I saw. Perfect.
Yeah.
And back to the game.
Thanks so much. And,
huge interview.
His mind was totally zero. He wasn't thinking about anything. He just saw blood in the water. His eyes turned red, and he started collecting points. Well, so far there was a little bit of a situation going on around those terminal bridges. Furia managed to pick off 7700 from 17, and now they are still kind of wrestling around the south side of that bridge, but it looks like they may go on ahead. Twisted Minds, meanwhile, has made their way over. Or did they start up there? I honestly can't remember. Either way, they're in Yongshan now. And then 17, it looks like they should be able to get Xiaobei and Lil Ghost across the bridge to go and rejoin Xiaowu, who has managed to avoid the prying eyes of Taikula. And now Furia, they're going to run right into Twisted. Twisted in a little bit of a 2-2. They're going to start off by losing Lou, who has been having a hell of a tournament so far. And that grenade is going to find example, is going to go down as Furia, they are just catching people off guard this game. They've managed to collect 3 kills for it.
Just fantastic timings to start this game.
What has happened to his mic,
Find 17 in rotation, split up. They had sent players out early to do some scouting, and they kind of cut in between 17 as 7-7 was trying to group up with Xiaowu
Sounds like a
on the
pilot.
other side, and this is just great. Shooting with the ace. With the ace. Oh no.
He went for the cool guy's stunt play of jumping the bridge whilst being shot at, but unfortunately that last bullet did him in.
PUBG players can't melt steel beams. Oh no.
What the fuck?
Oh no.
That's a crazy.
But then they drive and they're
thing
just
to
a step
say.
ahead
Holy
of
shit.
Twisted Minds there, and they're just doing a great job of reading timings on the map.
I mean, it's worked out a treat for him so far. As we see, they actually might have pinned down Batulins as well. And just like that, it is all down to Perfectix for Twisted Minds. As Furia, they have just been kind of farming here early on, owning around that southern side of Yongshan. Now, Bestia in the E pickup, they're just now arriving towards that North Island. We still have 4 teams rather, on the south side, south of the river, that are still making their way over. And we'll see where they decide to go as Perfectix, lonely little Perfectix is. Oh, now Delwyn going to run right into Nurens, and the rest of the arena is not really there. It's just Nurens and Jacob, and they're about to take on the full force of the Expendables. You can see them circling around like sharks, deciding whether or not they want some. But Nurens, that headshot will force them to say, no, sir, I think we'll just go ahead and pull away.
Yeah, this is just a setup from E-Arena that the Expendables were just not expecting at all. You know, that little hill that Nurens is able to find there.
What just happened? What?
And that's okay, no problem. The car just showing us some kick flips. That's okay.
What is that?
Duck2's going to be able to heal up off of that. But that's just a great little positioning maneuver from E-Arena. Again,
fuck was that
they play so
shit?
good in the early game. I'm very impressed with their mental approach to these early situations. Bestia decides to just go way north, and then if they're going to have to make their way through, they can cut through the forest.
More than 4 points for DNF.
Not ideal for the vehicle that's going to be left behind, but you'll take what you can get.
I don't think they're not even in a compound there, are they?
And they should be safe and sound for the most part. There is a player close to T5.
Maybe DL
driving
is.
away from it though, as they snag a car. So not bad at all for Bestia.
Guess
Bagel
it's a couple of houses there, I think.
Any pickup of their own, as they were able to escape that early potential scuffle
Maybe.
with EA.
And it looks like Bagopal will be in luck as well, as Forrest has just crossed the bridge, or is in the process of crossing. Yep, their final player going to be there. So that'll be the bridge cleared up for Bagopal. So nobody will be waiting for them or camping that out, as we see Scappy leading the way, leading the charge in the Porter, and surrounded by his teammates in the end. Now, if they continue hugging this western side, they may run the risk of running into the Expendables, but there's still a lot of compounds and stuff around there too, so they might be able to stop this down and scout it out, as Bagopal's E-pickup is now in the air. We'll see where they decide to go. They're going from southwest to northeast this time, kind of the opposite of what Bestia did.
Petrichor Road kind of setting up some of their scouting spots and how they want to set up looking forward into
I'll wait to see the Vietnamese memes about
that's just on that eastern side of
juice
Yongchun to make sure that they can
gating.
see pretty well what's going on the other side of that bridge, as best as they can identify that there's no camps or anything like that, making sure that the way forward is safe. And there is a glider. It is going to be kickstart, zooming around, trying to figure out what's going on there around the Falcons, just south of the Army base. Should be able to get some good reads. He's going to get shot at by New Happy, so he's going to know there's a team already up towards the top of that eastern mountain, and then he's getting shot at as well by the Army base team. So that's going to identify to the Falcons that they've got a couple teams in different spots. It's just, where do they want to go off of that? Do they just want to hunker down in a compound, try to wait this next circle out, but they're not going to have a choice. They have to make a move.
Kickstart glider.
Going to cut down back to the south. A little worried about Bagopal here. They pull the chute.
Different teams use gliders in different
They're
ways.
going to be dropping right on top of these teams as they're rotating.
Most teams in EMEA will use them as like the IGL will use it.
On the move, ready to go, but
Just take it for information.
And they decide to stick around, and it might pay off as they get
In Thailand, they put the fraggers in them usually,
Songjang might be the next
so they can just DMR people and actually shoot from them rather than just gathering information.
This is a feels bad, man. Just a gamble here from BGP that this was going to be open, and it is most certainly not. And this is not a team that you want to see down there with how well they've been fragging. They've already got one. They might get more. 17 dashing through into Godok as they try to find safe space. Shizzy, oh, he had a moment there where he could have popped some damage, but not able to connect with those shots with the Mark 12.
This city is looking real popular all of a sudden, Paper Thin. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. New Happy makes it 5 inside the city, and it's like we got E-Arena spread around in the middle. You got 17 kind of posted up on the southeastern side, TKL on the southern side, Forest on the western side, and now New Happy, or EA, going to lose Lyrics as they get a little bit too far here. December 12th will spot out Nurens, takes the spray but doesn't get the knock, so E-Arena will only lose one, which all things considered could have been way worse.
They were so spread out there. Had to try to regroup with this many teams. I mean, I don't think you'd expect this many teams to be flying into Godok with this circle, so this screams to me that there's some kind of read on heat maps with these teams, that they're thinking this is going to get closer to Godok.
Or just everyone's playing like a pussy and just wants to go for like the, you probably survive more if you're going to the town. No one's taking the risk.
Residing. I think a lot of teams thinking that it's going to avoid that, pull away in the end.
The big mountain's already out, so
Got another team. It looks like the
nothing else it has to shift off.
Their way down there as well, and you see Petrichor, Falcons actually pulling into a Furia 3-1 split. They've got Gizera all by himself.
Yeah.
Petrichor Road, they come in from the south side. They might have eyes.
If it does go into Godok, if you're one of the first teams to get in there, you're chilling. If you get deeper into it, if it doesn't go Godok and you're deep into it, you're
what if they
pretty
just
doomed.
drop into the middle of Godok? They won't even. Their feet
With
won't even
15
hit the ground if they try.
Sorry for saying Nixie has the best mechanics.
They gotta go like south, like
Shit, we're doing our apologies section.
Maybe, but otherwise, it's going to be a little bit tricky. I mean, there's tons of open space in the West, as we can see on the map, but are they going to be able to get the read or the understanding that that's what's happening? Bigger picture, Gizera hiding, not revealing his presence to Falcons. Falcons.
It looks like they have an idea that
there's probably some loot that's missing.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what Begopod decide to do here. And in fairness to them, look, they're looking for a vehicle. Day Trade was already there. They probably took all the vehicles, so there's no vehicles to be found. But they find an e-pickup. So why not? Or they either that or they had another one. So let's see if they decide to go real crazy.
And the whole team didn't do great.
Go Duck.
There's no
again.
way.
I mean,
come on. You learned your lesson, right?
It would be hilarious, though.
It would be hilarious.
Do it for the meme. It would be funny.
For the memes.
Exactly. Well, Bestia, look at, I mean, you can see all the space they have. And
okay, so Begopod just go full west, and there's just a free compound there that has no one anywhere close to it.
For Begopod might actually work
Sick.
out pretty well. They can dip out of there, go off to the west, and they have so much space that they can choose between if they decide to do that.
Interesting arrow drawing.
That might be the plan.
Arrow are not going to be the first team to reach that. Begopod's already getting that. Maybe they take the hilltop.
Meanwhile, Mortar is being thought about by TKL. I mean, so many teams in Godok.
BB or VP for Russia?
Messy over there for sure. Outside of this mine, gonna see the Expendables driving up. Already down a player, taking some damage onto Clories.
I
Now
guess
the knock
BB
is
right now.
actually a doozy from BB team. The Expendables
Why not
having
Twisted
a tough
Minds?
time here. Is anybody gonna get close enough for grenades from the back? It's DraftKing. He's got Duck Juice knocked as well. Just Clories left.
I don't think.
And a number of fights going on. As you said, Godok was about to turn savage as Petrichor Road tried to crash into the eastern side of this. I think they were considering going around, but instead
No
they
Russian
ended up getting
players
involved
on
in a
VP.
fight. And it's a fight that I don't think they wanted, as they are losing players left and right. Ike's left, I believe, the last.
Yeah, the organization is in Saudi,
About 5 HP as
but the players are
making his way through
mostly
Irina.
Russian.
Nurin's gonna play a little ring around the rosy here, but they win that
like
game every single time.
VP
But what a
organization
grenade from Ike's left to turn the tables.
Russian,
as
but
Mime
the
is
players
also
are
going
not.
to finish off the Expendables at the same time.
What in the world is going on over here? So I know why this happened to Petrichor Road. They didn't have any information on this. They came into this circle so late. They had no information on all these shots that were ringing out earlier, some of the driving that Arena was trying to do through the city. None of that was ever heard by Petrichor Road. So
Betboom is the only one with Russian players and is a Russian org.
A safer play that
Oh yeah,
way.
VP
Instead,
says
they're
that
paying the price.
Armenian.
Good
Yeah, that's
grenade
true.
hits both
Not a
players
Russian
of
organization.
New Happy.
Correct.
Petrichor Road for now, hanging on. Maybe looking to get one more player through.
Shoot
Shaul
him.
has the
Oh.
Dragunov watching the New Happy players cross. Isn't going to pull the trigger on that, and instead turns his eyes back to Pero.
If Petrichor Road gets Ming Ming back up here, it would be an
Tell you what, they
absolute
aren't
victory for this team, considering
finalists.
what they ran into.
XD
came out on top, and it looks like that'll be the case. Only 2 kills, but for what they came into, it was looking like they were going to be in a lot of trouble. Now they have to backfill New Happy as they make their way through Godok. They still have 17 off to the south, so basically Godok all China right now. They've got, although Falcons look like they have decided to arrive in the southern part of the city.
This is the start of the Forest Natural Gaming
Forest
comeback.
is kind of holding off in the hills to the west, though. Maybe Falcons got eyes on somebody scouting around, or maybe this could be Team Falcons just trying to be aggressive and see if they can sneak up on somebody. The new circle does pop, and these guys are going to have to leave the city here now.
Let's see what the Falcons can do with this. They've actually got a little bit of room.
Should DNF be playing outside of their buildings right now, do you reckon?
So there's an opportunity to stay safe, get into some compounds, and kind of lock down the southern side of the circle. The Bestia gonna fan out. There's a drop over there for Silzen. He could pick up some level 3 gear, perhaps. It's Petrichor Road.
Like, do they have a shack there?
Find a moment to cross the street. A dangerous run for
I'll tell they're both standing on top of each other, just spinning.
Into a temporary bit of safety, but there is so many 17 players around here, and they surely heard those footsteps.
Can't believe nobody was looking at the main road running through Godok at the time. But 17 just holding the line right now, and yeah, Shabe is going to hear the pitter-patter of Sweet Little Ike's left feet.
Look what's on his back, too.
Oh, yeah. He's
Well,
feeding
I've
that
got bad
intel
news.
over.
They are
Shawu
sticking
could
to their 2-2.
absolutely just wreck him.
Saw him.
He should see him. I think he's got the flashbang.
Oh my god, he's so blind. He's so blind.
Flips away, flips back, gets the spray, knocks Xiaobei. Xiaowu going to try to go in there. They're going to try to collapse on him. Lil Ghost will be the one that gets him, as Ixleft will flush out Xiaobei and secure that point, push 17 back down to 2.
Man, you can just see how individually talented Ixleft is there. He saw just a pixel out of place on his opponent and immediately threw the stun out. That's what allowed him to win that battle. Repositions to the other side of the wall so he can at least get a flush. 17, of course, having huge numbers advantage. The call for Peril there to send Ixleft on his own and just see if he could find some safety over there. Didn't happen, but the fact that he's still able to get a point out of that is really, really good, to say the least. But now it's hard to
BB's
imagine
going to
that
win this game again, no?
is going to be able to do a ton here against a fortified New Happy who knows exactly that they have a team coming right behind them. But Ming Ming, trying to make the wide wrap near the fence edge, is going to see one of the New Happy players out in the open, is going to continue to push forward. Inuyasha on this rear guard duty. Is he going to be ready for Nan? You would think so. There's no doubt that, that they're behind you.
Yeah, no, I mean, you even if you haven't heard the footsteps, you've heard the shots, so you got to know that there's something
Park Pro
wicked going on over there. As Park Pro, okay, I guess Scappy had an idea that there was a player just on the other side.
There's one of them where it's like,
down too hard.
it's a pretty good nade, does 40 damage, but it's useless unless you have 2 players and you double nade.
Bestia, a number of fights going off on the north side here as BB Team, T5, Bestia all trying to make their way in, and now Ming Ming has
He just heals that back for free and you've just spent 1 grenade.
Despite the fact that you said they should know that they're there, they still are getting taken surprise.
They got
he got hit with that molly. That's fucked.
Nan taking a ton of damage from that molly. Ming Ming now gonna let loose with the smokes. He's
Walked
still
him on the
outdoing
chin.
his opponent.
What a
This time he
finish.
gets the knock onto 16 KK. It's time to press forward. New Happy here. This defense in tatters, and the 2 surviving Petrichor Road members unleashing with smokes.
Damn, bro,
now,
these nades are
frags
not.
as well to try to clear this building. But Zilong, he's taken the outside position. He was aware that being inside
working.
of that compound would be dangerous. He'd be susceptible to those throwables. So he's going to sit inside of that smoke and try to wait this out.
Zilong doing his best to try to collect a few more points here for New Happy, but that smoke wall is dissipating. He will come around on the backside, but look at this. Shots from Salute actually going to throw things in a little bit of a tussle here as Zilong will get the knock onto Nan. Now Ming Ming hiding behind the hard cover. Zilong, is he shooting? Oh, he's wallbanging him.
Through the fence.
Through the fence. We'll get a little bit more damage in, but it looks like they might get him back on his feet here. Salute
13
immediately
damage
turn
is
back
insane.
over, but Ming Ming going to get knocked by Zilong, as Zilong will
Fuck is 13
strike
damage.
at the right time. We'll try to lay down another smoke here, but 17 is the problem. Oh, we will get him. There it is. Okay, New Happy in the end does finish off Petrichor Road.
How did T5 get fucking bodied? Who killed them?
Down to just 1 player.
No, you're exactly right. That was
DNF held their east pretty good, I guess.
Prefer to come out of there. What in the world just happened there? Tadadol takes 2 BBT players right out of the car with the AUG spray. Unbelievable. Even Tigger's got a bolt. I mean,
unbelievable.
Forest
Such a paper thin thing.
Backside to Furia. Falcons trying to break out from Godok. They're having to fight through a couple different teams as well. It is scrappy on this southwest side.
Oh no.
Picking them from the vine like some fresh strawberries as Furia and Forest are going to scrap here. Aduzi going to get involved as well and will actually help out Furia by getting that last knock onto Scappy. Now the rest of Furia, they've still got 3 up. There's 3 here. Now
Picking them from the vine like some fresh
by
strawberries.
Falcons weeks ago, and he's still alive coming from the blue from the other side of the zone. Speaking of those same Falcons, they tried to make their way across the road a little bit earlier, but 17 got in the way.
Flash.
Now down to just
no.
So the cost of going to Goduk seems to be 3/4 of your team, because 1 member of every squad is all that's making its way out.
No,
yeah.
This is
but if there's no one into Goduk,
they just lost
oh no,
everything.
one of them's getting flushed for sure.
Make some kind of read on this situation.
Hit him. Hit him. Too long.
Long range spray, but the blue is going
suck.
to claim another victim.
Tigger's dead as fuck.
As well out there. trying to find an extra point for Twisted
right
Minds.
there
Oh, he's got him. That's a free point for sure. No one there to help him out. Belmoth from afar finally.
Cool. At least he got that.
Thorn in the side.
But that's really bad.
Trying to angle in a bit towards this fight. Mime, though, backs off. Didn't like that this didn't kick off anymore, so didn't press any further forward.
Starting to see some new names here showing out as Furia. They are, well, Furia up to 8 kills. Meanwhile, Bestia with 4. And who is that? Day Trade now. Yeah, we've been waiting to see if Day Trade would start popping off. And this looks like it might be the time. 7 kills for them.
All right.
3 members still alive.
Blue Balls
and
Snake.
They have to fight their way into that circle from the western side. And there's...
Yeah, the fact that it can be phase 6 and people can still just be healing in the blue zone behind you for that long. Like, it's been phase 6 for like a minute and a half because the zone's about to stop moving.
Imagine.
So you're like, surely behind us is clear.
I've been kind of watching him on the map.
Nope.
No. He's
a bush Wookiee. He is the bush.
You just can't ever presume that your side is free anymore.
I have become Bush, bringer of death.
Until it's phase 8, maybe.
He might be. Absolutely might be. Day Trade, though, still some work to do here on this edge.
They
like
saw
you
that.
talked about, landmines all over the place. So you have to watch your step. Grenades are out, though. Just
Terrible
a bit
nades.
too far there. Finally,
APAC
one's
nades.
going to connect onto a doozy. Trying to find a good angle to hold this push. Flash with the drive up. A good stun. May have just saved Flash's life.
All right, nice.
And Belmoth is going to claim the prize.
Oh, that Flash
Good stuff.
100% saved him because a doozy had him dead to rights. But
Zone is rough, man.
A little bit off on the offensive utility there for Day Trade, but in the end they end up being okay here. As Salute is just going to P90 the entirety of Furia right now.
Yoink.
They were at a rock. They are no longer at the rock. Now they are all just Bush, as Gizera is the last remaining representative of that squad. Day Trade still working on that western side, but Bestia starting to get.
Hey, they've also got a sneaky snake behind them, though.
I mean, Gizera hasn't moved a muscle.
And they just killed 2 of the Sneaky Snake's teammates, so he's going to want to just fuck them over. Oh my god, Belmoth, what a nade.
He's going to load up with the second
What the fuck?
Bounces just a bit too far. Oh, that's devastating for Bestia. He had a P90. He had level 3 gear. Losing that player in this scenario would be so painful. Day Trade just doing a little poking and prodding up and over the hill, looking for their moments, looking for the damage. Day Trade just going to take their time because they're getting some help from afar.
Stolen away.
That's beautiful.
I mean, that's
there. Have a great
kind of
ridge line
fair
to
enough.
play.
They stole one of the kills, even now.
There's always
Yeah, I mean, look at how many fucking crates there is on the map. Of course they have a P90 and an MK. Holy shit.
Scary, scary bush of death, doom, and destruction that could reveal itself at any time. Day Trade, though,
But what, DL gets stabbed in the back or Salute, maybe?
This thing, it looks like, from that western side. Now they've got Silzen and Vinny for Bestia off to the north, but they appear to
It just depends when. Or like, does Gizera just wait and just go for second place?
I think they had the deployable cover set, everything. Now Heaven coming from the south side will spot out Thanadol, and that'll hit every single time. You'd love to see it from Heaven, but can't get the flush just yet, I don't think. Does he have any? Oh, he's got some grenades. Yeah, he's going to smoke this off. I think he tries to go for the grenade here.
It's not going to reach.
It's far. Is it going to bounce right? It does get there, and it gets
The fucking car?
Unbelievable!
No way.
Hate to see that, Day Trade fans, but what a
The nade didn't reach, but it pushed the fucking car on top of them. Come on.
And now Belmoth, the last player alive for Day Trade. He is keyed in on the north, trying to take the fight to Bestia, but now Freaks look like they are in the driver's seat here for the end game.
Okay, and Gizera just missed all of his
The
bullets.
Freaks aren't going to get that point. Gizera got spotted. He got dealt with. Solid Snake. What happened? He's gone.
The exclamation point went off above Deal's head, and he was ready and up to the task of getting rid of him. And Heaven will find Belmoth here, as it is all just picking fish out of the barrel here for the Freaks. They are getting all the points they can as they continue to
They did
climb
not
the leaderboard.
throw this game.
8 kills now. Can they finish with 10 and 10 points for a win? Vinny and Silzen still have something left to say about that.
Oh, man, you give this Freaks team space and time, and they will make the most of it. Let's see if Bestia can do their best to best the Freaks in this situation. Like that one?
I like that one.
Ah, okay.
Loved it.
I appreciate
Bars.
You. I appreciate you. We got a little bit of time. Freaks, though, have a ton of smokes, man. They have stuns. They've got 6 frags. It's not
kitted
like
to the absolute gills. Look at this man. He's running around with a ghillie and a P90. He is,
yeah, why not?
He is paid.
What's so brutal about this is Bestia has 0 smokes. So even if there's a knock onto the Freaks, there may not be a lot you can do about it because of their crossfire angles.
Well, now
He
look at the
saw
eyes
that?
of Salute, man. Just the smallest pixel, he spotted that. But I mean, Freaks still have to be careful about this because remember, at
Wrong
game, one of the very first games we saw, Clories was in a 3v1 versus TKL, but TKL gave him
Nading every tree.
1v1s. So if Freaks does this,
Except
to
the one that he's
Bestia,
on.
they could be in danger as Vinny has been spotted out, it looks like, and Guman right on time with it. He's going to spot out Silzen as well, takes the spray, and that'll do it. DN Freaks
Nice.
dominate the lobby here with 10 kills.
All right, well, the Freaks starting to get hot. It took a couple days in this
Let's
tournament for them to find their
go.
footing, but
We
finally
did
they
it.
have. And they are starting to rack up some chicken dinners, and that has to be very scary for the rest of this lobby because we know what they did in the PWS, put up unbelievable numbers. Here in the global stage, it's always a different affair. There's just so many damn good teams in these situations.
Bruh,
Can
come
they
on.
keep it up? Can they keep the iron hot?
As we head over to Rondo, it is going to be very important to make sure that iron stays hot. Bestia doing pretty good too, but that is going to be our 3rd game in the books. Let's throw it over to the desk.
This will be after 2 games. Oh. Giveaway, go enter. Go click button. Do this. Free money. Also Twitter.
Do your bit now.
Do this. Free money.
Well, DN Freaks saunter into a win casually on the east side, no problems whatsoever. 100 million crates.
Scripted.
Because that's how Tego goes. But there was actually only 1 P90, which was surprising to me, despite them looting everything.
It's because the rest of his team just fanned out to make sure that he was safe while looting the boxes.
Protect Salute!
He went, literally went through boxes. I was like, okay, I'll take a ghillie here, a P90 here,
Huh.
tier 3 here. And they made it to get the big win. So that's good for them. I mean, coming off the back of a group stage that started uncharacteristically slow.
Agreed.
They have been kind of ramping up today, and to have them now take sort of this win, I don't know who said it. It was an agreement. Somebody goes, oh, it's bad news that the Freaks turn on early. And I think that could be, this might be the opener of that run.
Yeah, and pretty cool to see that we're still on the Go Duck patch of Tego here. I don't think I've seen as many Go Duck endings as I have in the last 2 months here on Tego. It's been crazy. And yeah, they were prepared. Sure, it's not exactly inside Go Duck, but it's close enough to see that all the teams are already kind of moving their way there. Nice triple made.
Let's see this. Let's see this.
We go kind of the circle a bit northwest of Godok, and then we get teams like Petrichor Row crashing into Godok.
What's Bro saying? Send this to PUBG management in regards to TPP tournaments.
That situation that we were in is the one. That situation that we were in is the one downside. If I had to have any downside to this game, is exactly what just happened. We had him pinned right here behind this car, but he had the car as covered and he's third popping. Yeah, he's just third personing. So I'm just sitting here and I know where he is, but he can just sit here and find.
Really
he could just sit here and find me, and then he just popped up and was doing pop shots. He would just pop up and shoot me, and there was nothing I could do. That situation that we were in is.
Yeah, I mean, isn't that like just what everyone has always?
Yeah, I mean, they're making the
every grievance that everyone has always had
Bestia once again
with
finds
TPP.
themselves climbing into the top 4. You know,
But now that Shroud has said it, then
sort of chops to stand up against Freaks. I don't know if it was the double party drop right in front of them. I don't know if the fact that they just weren't getting that pressure from the south side, but they didn't have to worry too much. They were able to sort of manhandle everyone in the last section of that fight.
Now we've seen Salute with 3 gear, P90, you know, 1,000 damage, tons of kills, all that stuff like that, right? I want to see that in the normal games as well. We know he's capable of it. You know, PGC champion 2023. This guy could do it. maybe the pressure is not on him just yet. Maybe they don't feel it just yet, but they're going to be getting 20 points out of this game with the 10 kills coming along.
I sort of know what you're saying about that because, I mean, yes, they get themselves #1 with the 10 kills, as you say, 1.8k damage, but they were controlling a crazy amount of space in the mid to late game on the east side, and a lot of their wins and a lot of their huge performances in PWS came from them seizing massive positions, huge spreads, being able to control a lot
all of this shit is literally
1,001 damage.
A lot of damage, and I think I really like the way you talked about that control that they had. They didn't have all the P90s, but they set up and they defended both of those drops when they landed down. There was a point where Vinny tried to get down there to get their hands on some tier 3 and some new loot for the team. They already had it locked up, and instead of going and looting themselves, they said, okay, no one gets to have any of this good stuff. We're just going to use it for ourselves and sort of make sure no one can get down there to re-up. That said, I think it's pretty obvious who the man of the match is going to be as it comes out as Salute. You know, this is one of those players that I think a lot of us rostered him during the group stages for fantasy, thinking, hey, man, this guy's going to be the big deal. And he let us down the first day, but obviously now a good choice.
I think a lot of people are still going to have him.
Yeah.
For these finals, right? I think the one group stage, probably not enough to deter some of those Salute saviors.
Yeah, I think so too. But also, we have to also look at only 64 damage taken compared to the 1,000 damage done. I think that's one of the biggest ratios of damage taken versus damage done. That's quite impressive with the 20 points, as I pointed out for here. Good to see Daytrade again with a decent game here. They're popping up with 14 coming their way. Furia and Bestia again.
The Americas.
The Americas.
I'm going to keep saying it all day. I'm so sorry.
It's true, but then the Falcons, on the other hand, not so much. And again, this is just we talked about the last time. I don't know what's going on. We keep seeing these cool moments. They're just not converting them into anything but really nice highlighted fodder. So hopefully they turned around. A big shout out to Furia and Bestia for putting up a good round in that game. 17, again, finding themselves up there, looking really good. And we do see Petrichor manage to grind up just a little bit higher. They're still on the right side of the leaderboard.
That said, a few little gaps emerging after just 3 games. 43 points so far for 17 Gaming at #1. Wow. Looking fantastic so far. BB team, 35 points. Did think maybe they could have got more from this. Not to be the case. Thanadol had something to say about it, as you mentioned, Martin.
Yeah, that was insane. The double headshot knockout of a moving car like that at that speed. We've seen Thanadol before, you know, back when he was, you know, years ago. He was a star player potentially here, and that's really coming to fruition here for Daytrade. We didn't see it in the group stage, but I feel like that could definitely come to effect here in the finals.
Didn't eat enough mealworms.
No, apparently not.
Wow.
Yeah.
How quickly do we have to say, though, Twisted Minds, Petrichor Road, where are your mealworms, right? When do we start getting concerned? I mean, it's only 3 games.
We made this joke
But
every single break.
Twisted Minds, Petrichor, Falcons, Taikula, who was second place at the end of day 1 in the group stages. All of these really strong all these
Doesn't
really
need to
strong
happen,
games we just
man.
are not making.
Make the joke and move on. Come on.
Forest.
Forest.
On 2 points.
Still fun. That said, there are some big name teams in the first 3 games that have not managed to get their feet under them. Yes, I know it's only 3 of 18, but it is something to start keeping our eyes on.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I mean, 11 points here already, almost quadrupled it for 17 Gaming. That's quite a bit of an advantage already, right? If you have 30+ points on your nearest kind of competitor, you have that after 3 games. That is a win per game average ahead of your, you know, defending back-to-back-to-back champions. So I wouldn't say it's looking dire just yet. I want to see what happens on, especially, of course, on Rondo, but also once we're done with the 2 wrangles are going to have quite an impact, I feel.
Daytrade in good spirits, as you can see them there.
I like to see that.
Did you enjoy the interview with them as well, where he was like behind him doing
that? That was adorable. It really fits their attitude they brought. They want to have fun with it. And I mean, you don't actually see it. A lot of that times it's like a player comes like, okay, I want to be the interview. And it was actually, you juxtapose against the Freaks interview, which followed it. It was very like, serious versus Daytrade was just out here to have a good time. They know the fans are going to support them. They know they're going to have fun. They're just focused on playing their game, and I super respect
AFC
that.
North.
A lot of our teams, obviously, as you say, especially APAC, really just loves being here, loves playing the game, loves getting an opportunity to show off their skills as well. This team, though, on screen right now, they've won on this stage many times.
Stop with the tech issues, come on.
Here, but they need to get more hungry about it, because otherwise they're going to get left behind a little bit. Are they just laughing at it?
The Expendables rolled up. They waved to the camera.
Another APAC team. They're so happy.
They really are, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
them in the building is always a breath of fresh air. Like, it's very rare that I see APAC rosters walking by grumpy or angry or sad
Yeah,
in general.
I'm trying to think of a time.
I can't, right?
No. Yeah, especially Expendables after you get last year, and like, oh, we can now buy a couple of houses with the money we just won.
Yeah, that will make you a little bit happier. I'm going to be...
I mean,
They don't even need to. They have a
these
team
players
house.
Come out here and they win some of these tournaments. It's life-changing money, and it gives them the ability to just focus on the game, and the region has absolutely exploded. So it's been fun to watch, fun to see. I do think some of our teams, while we talk about the airy feel of the APAC teams as they walk around, we're not getting that from some of our other teams. Falcons, Twisted Minds walking through the hallway seem a little more dour, a little more serious about maybe things aren't going quite their way. They're not catching what they wanted to in those first three.
Yeah.
But those are teams that have the mental to turn it back around and not worry about it.
Tiggleton more used to just wearing vests all the time at the moment.
He
to
hates
show off
where
them
you saw him.
guns.
He hates wearing the shirt.
Yeah, I know. It's tough times, tough times.
Falcons needs a guns jersey. That's what they need.
They want to just get
off.
the tank top on the vest. All right, well, let's get to it. We have got Rondo on the cards now.
Uh-oh, I didn't do my push-ups.
Go, go, go.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. And yes, we are back in sunny Shanghai. 3 games in the books, 3 more to go so far. BB Team, 17 Gaming, and now DN Freaks find themselves in the win column. Now, who will take the final 3 of the day? Rondo will be
I'm only
the first
halfway
map
through the
that
day,
we get our
man.
decision. I am Poor Source joining me once again is
This
Paper
shit's
Thin.
slow as hell.
Paper Thin,
Look.
I know you were excited to see a Freaks win.
Yeah.
I don't know if you were as excited to see the Freaks win as our Chinese compatriots were to see 17 get the win, but
for sure.
excited nonetheless. As that was a heck of a game by them for sure.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's just the Freak style, right? Like, they want to take space early, they want to control territories so they can take large chunks of the, mid to late game circles for themselves. They can work, with that tremendous DMRing they have from top to bottom. I don't know how in the world DL figured out that Gizero is behind him eventually. You know what I think happened is, like, eventually... It just started to all come together. They're like, the circle's getting too small for this. There's only so many places they could
Check
be.
every freaking booth.
Bestia's behind that hill line. Like, certainly he's not up there.
They would have shot him by now, right? Yeah, like, sometimes your spidey senses just get to tingling, and you're like, you know what? This is a bad situation.
Something's wrong.
I got the ick right now,
I got
and
the ick.
I gotta make sure I check behind me, and that bush is kind of icky.
Ooh,
Okay,
yes.
Let's see it going all the way north. Test track
Dude.
still in it, but so is a
Fucking
whole lot.
aircraft pilot microphone is really killing me.
This is why I'm here, for these great circles. Oh, yeah. Today has been good. We haven't gotten, like, other than the one Miramar game, we haven't gotten any circles that have been too typical.
Sure, yeah, it's been
Well, I
it's
guess
been
both
fun.
Miramars were kind of, but they've been good games. The Miramar finishes were good, so that made up for it.
That is true.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, however many years in at this point, like every Miramar circle feels
Kind of true.
kind of, but still, it always provides a lot of entertainment given how.
Is
these
everyone
teams decide to
complaining
play
about
this.
the circle?
Check
Like,
in
what
with
do you want?
those
Test track?
freaks. They are already sending it towards that center of the circle as they slow their looting down here just a little bit, but it looks like we have a
Same as
little
every
bit
other
of
fucking
interview
time.
here, maybe.
밴드
왜, 왠지.
파이널에 진출해서 기분 일단 좋은 상태고요. 그 전에 있던 경기들이 마음에 들진 않는데 그랜드 파이널에선 더 좋은 모습 보여드리도록 하겠습니다. 처음에 좀 많이 삐그덕거리긴 했는데 뭐 그렇다고 해서 불안한 생각은 많이
랄랄랄라.
없고 그냥 저희 팀을 믿고 했던 것 같아요.
Bro, sitting at a desk just watching PUBG is like the most tiring shit I ever
경기력은
do.
있고 이제 저희 새롭게 시작하는 거니까
Because I'm just sitting here not
그랜드
doing
파이널
anything.
우승을 목표로 하고 있습니다.
There you go. Fresh start. Good perspective from Deal. Now, Paper Thin, tell me a little bit more about Deal. This is a guy that's been around for a while, but maybe under a couple different names.
Yeah, for sure, right? Playing on Donawa previously last year. He's a player who's been on a lot of people's radars, mine included. Would watch him back in scrims back in the day when he went under the alias Bob Songhead. Was extremely talented, and it was this thing where the team he was on was okay, but he was stellar, and he was destroying
Oh, the
like
Jacob strategy.
and like good Donawa and like, but before Donawa became that super team, but like teams that were really good in the PWS at the time, he was like 1v4ing. And I'm like, Who is this kid? He's like putting up 9-10 kills by himself in these scrims, and just dunking.
You
on
know
some of these
that
other teams.
that reminds me of a little bit.
Who's that?
Mr. Salute.
Yeah.
And Soul.
Yeah.
Even.
What?
Soul
He has
back
that
when
in
he
it.
was back on the.
Why does that remind you of
Vandy
Salute?
Square teams where, he was just kind of just running the
Are
lobby.
we going back to like 2018?
It's always fun to see the
That Sandhawk game.
Oh yeah.
Lives in my memory.
Oh my
from
gosh,
Seoul.
the with the red dot.
Okay, yeah, we are going back to 2018.
We're in
Holy
good
shit.
we have good old days syndrome already, just a little bit. But it's fun when you
Jesus.
get to see a new player or a player rather like Deal come in and
Talking
really
about
just
a
kinda
guy
finally get their chance
who
with a good
didn't
roster
qualify to this
and
event,
to really show the world what they can do.
and
right
a
now,
game that he
Freaks are on
played
the clock,
7 years ago
especially in
is what we're
2025,
currently
as they
talking
are
about on the
looking
cast.
about as strong as they've ever looked.
Well, they're gonna take control of kind of the
Sick.
center of the circle, and it's like south of the river.
Here it's my boy casting today, and my gal.
Twisted Mind แล้ว
Oh
Fury
shit.
อะค่ะเฮ้ย
Panzer.
เดี๋ยวนะเหมือนจะมีคนแยกเล่นนะ Twisted Mind เป็นรูนั่นเองแล้วมาอยู่ตรงเก่งจีนแบบนี้ Fury อะเหมือนจะมีความสงสัยบางอย่าง
คืออะไรฮะเก่งจีน
นี่ไงอันนี้เก่งจีน
ศาลาหรือเปล่า
เขาเรียกเก่งอะ
เหรอ
อืม
ไหนอันไหนกระบะฮะ
กระบะน่าอยู่ข้างนอกนะฮะเป็นแบบพวกแบบอื่น
ครับผม
เอามาดูกันนิดนึงเพราะว่ารูน่าจะมีการแจ้งแล้วล่ะค่ะว่า
They're
มี
coming.
คนมานะคะแล้วทำให้มีการเรียกรวมทวิตเตอร์มาที่เหลือ จะเปิดไฟใหญ่เลยหรือเปล่าแล้วจะเป็นฟิวเรียอย่างนั้นเหรอ
รู้เหรอ
รู้
รู้เรียนมา
Lulu. Lu knows. Lu knows.
ไหลมาอีก2คนยังไงครับทวิตเตอร์มาเกมที่แล้วที่เล่นไม่ได้เลยครับเพราะว่าโดนตัดแข้งตัดขาหมดนะครับรู้ค่อยๆขยับ
Reckon.
ขยับทีละนิด
เฮ้ย
ชิดๆเข้าไปอีกหน่อย
I think
ตะวันน้อย
โอ้โหยังไม่ได้ระเบิดลูกแรกก็ไม่เป็นไรลูก
they
ต่อไป
heard
ไม่
him
มาถือเป็นสกอร์
shuffling,
อยู่อย่ายืนชิด
or
กำแพง
they're
นะ
just
ครับ
like,
ชิดไปน็อกเองด้วย
okay, the way this team just pulled up on us
แต่ว่า
means
ฟิว
there's
เรียได้ยินเสียงรถนะคะ
probably
แล้ว
somebody
รอ
here.
ตัดสินใจที่จะรับจากบริเวณด้านนอกก่อนเลยเลยค่ะ เพียงแต่ว่ารู้ไหมว่าข้างบนน่ะมีคนนะจะทันระวังหรือเปล่าแล้วลูอะค่อยๆแง้มมามุมการเล่นของลูถือว่าสวยเลยทีเดียวแล้วเจอตัวไปอย่างนี้กดฟรีๆใส่ไปนะแต่ว่ายังไม่น็อกละค่ะสุดท้ายแล้วเป็นเฮเว่นเปิดน็อกใส่ทางของปรุรินได้ก่อน
Quick.
เอาแล้วครับน็อกไปก่อน1เทรดกันมา1เหมือนกันนะของเบอร์เฟกติกได้ฮาเวนไปครับ3ฮาเวนออกจากเกมไปเอาละครับ first
Quick.
kill มาจาก
Panzer him.
ครับ op.tg ครับจากทวิตเตอร์ใหม่
โอ้เปิดเฟิร์สน็อกแต่ว่าไม่ได้เฟิร์สคิวฮะสำหรับฟิวเรียแบบนี้เอายังไงต่อดีกุเซล่าขยับรถมาจะมูฟเลยเหรอ
ไป
หรือ
เล
ว่าย
ค
จะ
รับ
อ้อมไปหาที่เล่น
ไปแล้ว
เฮ้ยไปแล้ว
ใช่ครับเสียหนึ่งอยู่ไม่ได้ครับแล้วกดด้วย QBU จังหวะนี้มายังไงครับลูติดค้างอีก2ครับในตัวอาคารเนี่ยครับยังไม่ได้ไปไหนเลยครับโอ้โหเอาละครับจะวนขึ้นเลยหรือเปล่าอยู่มุมหน้าต่างครับของลูครับหลังคา
Hello?
โอ้โหแล้วถือของใหญ่ฮะ
Anybody?
แบกของใหญ่ฮะแบบนี้เอายังไงค่อยๆเคลื่อนที่มาอย่างนี้ต้องหาสโมกซุกเข้าไปก่อนละ
Oh, no.
อันเนี้ยเป็นอีกเล็บด้วยแล้วค่ะคนที่มาแจม
โอ้ยโดนยิงกดใส่มาหน้าของ example เหมือนกันครับเมื่อสักครู่นี้ครับสมองปิดขวาก่อนเล่นซ้ายมา perfecting ได้พอ
Gonna
ซ่า
reach.
อีก1น็อกเหลือคาเคนจังหวะนี้ออกได้ไหมครับวนกลับไปก่อนเอาชัวร์ๆดีกว่าเอาตัวชัวร์ก่อนอีกเล็บยิงคอสใส่มาเหมือนกัน perfecting ครับ
How they got all the way there, like without Lou
แต่
even
นี่เท่า
shooting
กับ
them?
ว่ารู้แล้วนะฮะ
What the fuck is
ว่า
happening?
มีการเสียไปฮะ2คนอยากจะทำของเฟอร์รี่อ้าวเฮ้ยประตูลินไปได้กุเซล่าที่ปุ๊บออกไปก่อนเป็นคนแรกนะคะแล้วกลายเป็นว่าหมิงวิ่งสติลคิวมาได้
โอ้ฟิลเดียเละเทะแล้วครับตอนนี้เหลือแค่คนเดียวครับโอ้โหจะเข้าไปเคล
ค
ม
น
เขา
เดียว
เคลมจาก2ทีมนะครับทั้งทวิตเตอร์ไมล์แล้วก็เปโรครับอ้าว
Oh yes, this is some Thailand shit.
Forest National Gaming Airline
Natural Gaming Airline.
เรียกว่าชิวๆอยู่
This is the Thailand shit where you got two teams in gliders and they just
หาพื้นที่ไป
bite each other.
ให้คุณถ่ายอะไรนะเกมนี้
ผมทาย E Arena
อ๋อโอเคBBT มะ
คุณเหรอ
ใช่
อ๋อ
ถ้า
คุ
คุณ
ณ
ไม่
ไทยสแตทที่ดีที่สุดของลอนโดเลยเนี่ย
คุณไม่จดเลยนะ คุณไม่ฟังเลยตอนนี้แบบผมให้ตอนแรกอะ
ผมใช้ความทรงจำเอา
ผมจำที่ไม่ดี
ที่ไม่มี
จำไม่ได้ด้วยว่าถ่ายไปตั้งแต่ตอนต้นเลยลายเครื่องบิน
เอ้ยอย่างน้อยผมก็จำของผมได้อะ
What?
แค่ไม่มีความทรงจำของคุณ
โอเคแล้วนี่ไงสายการบินเหมือนกันครับ BBT กับด้านของ E Arena
เฮ้ย
ครับ
ที่เราทายกันไว้นี่พี่ชน
ฮะใช้คำว่าเราด้วยเหรอ
อ้าวก็เราทายไงคนละทีมไง
อ๋อไม่มีคำว่าเราอะ
เอ
โอ้เนี่ย
อ
แล้วแต่ความทรงจำละ เฮ้ยกับตันทีมทั้งนั้นเลยนะที่บินน่ะ IGL นั้นเลยครับดู
Damn,
ที่
bro.
กัปตันทีมนะครับของ BB ทีมครับเลลิกนี่ก็ IGL ครับของ E Arena โอลิมปัสก็บินเหมือนกันเมื่อสักครู่นี้แต่ไม่ใช่ฟุกกี้นะฟุกกี้เป็นสเกลเลยครับ
จะได้แบบว่าสั่งแผนได้ อ้าวแล้วตรงนี้ค่ะเบสเซียเล่นอยู่ในวงอยู่แล้วนะคะแต่เหมือนจะขับผ่านทางของเพชรชอโรสละค่ะเจอด่านจีนไปก่อนแล้วไปด่านยุโรปต่อไหมรอดูกันนะคะตอนนี้อีก50กว่าวินาทีวงจะเข้าสู่เฟสที่2ค่ะเฟสแรกพื้นที่เล่นค่อนข้างเยอะเลย
ติดท็อปโฟอีกไหมดีกว่าเบสเซียถามคำถามนี้ดีกว่า
คือถ้าเกมเนี้ยเขาได้ที่1อ่ะเขาครบเลยนะคุณ4-3-2-1อ่ะ
ใช่แล้วก็ติดท็อปโฟมาตลอดนะครับทีมฟอลคอนครับไหลมาเอชวินครับเอาราคาขึ้นโอ้โหบันเทิงครับมาเจอเพื่อนร่วมโซนครับอเมริกาทั้งคู่เลยโอ้ขาเคนลำบากแล้วอันนี้ลำเคนก่อน
ขาเคนที่อยู่บนบกนะฮะนี่เนี่ยคือจุดจบเรียบร้อยอ่ะเอชวินปิดงาน
GG
ขาเคนไปเฟเรียจบ16เต็มสมบุกสมบันกันมากตั้งแต่ต้นเลยสำหรับเฟเรียที่ไปโดนทวิตเตอร์ไมล์เปิดไฟ
ครับผม
There's only 2 teams committed north right now.
ทีมที่แรงกิ้งเฉลี่ยในตอนนี้น่าจะถือว่าดีที่สุดแล้วล่ะค่ะใน3รอบโหลดที่ผ่านมา
ใช่ครับเรื่องแรงพอยต์โอเคฮะแต่เรื่องคิวก็อาจจะต้องติดไม้ที่มือเพิ่มเติมขึ้นมาหน่อยนะครับเบสเตียดัฟคิงอาร์เจนตินา2นะครับมี
shit
1แล้วก็อเมริกา1นะครับวงอัปเดตกลับมาที่
Unlucky for those teams that committed north. Guess we are going test track.
ดูดวงหรือเปล่าเนี่ย
Everyone who was like, "Whoa, this zone's so crazy and cool and fun." It's like, nope, test track zone.
ได้อยู่อีอารีนาไหลเข้าไปที่เทรสแท็กนะครับทีละทอนไฟไลน์เดียวของ DN ฟีครับด้านบนนะครับลงไปถึงForest Natural Gaming ขวามือเช่นเดียวกันของ Day Trade Gaming สบายๆเลยครับ
ค่ะแบบนี้ขยับมาด้านล่างเออารีนาที่อยู่ในเทสแทร็กเนี่ยจะไปตีกับนิวแฮปปี้หรือเปล่านะคะส่วนทีมที่ดูแล้วแบบอาจจะวุ่นวายลำบากหน่อยก็จะเป็นทีมฟอลคอนเลยค่ะเพราะว่าเคลื่อนที่กันค่อนข้างไกลเช่นเดียวกับเบโกปาด้วยนะอีอารีนาค่ะภาพยังคงจับอยู่ที่พวกเขาค่ะ15ทีม60ชีวิตนะคะในเฟสที่2เฮ้ยแล้วยังไม่จบอีกเหรอภาคอากาศเฮ้ย
Yeah, you see, this is some APAC shit. This is some Thailand shit, more specifically. This is how gliders happen in Thailand.
โดดลมก่อนเลยครับทิ้งสลายานครับตรงนี้
Oh, he's dead. 17. Just stop shooting at him. He's 1 HP, bro. Holy fuck.
โอ้เกือบดูสีหน้าโอ้เช็ดเหงื่อนิดนึงนะมือนี่จะชุ่มไปแล้วอ่ะแล้วภาพตัดมาที่เดนฟรีนะคะขับรถกันอยู่2คนตรงนี้แล้วคู่ขนานมากับทางฝั่งของไทคูลเลอร์
That is very Thai. That's why they put their gunners in gliders and not their IGLs.
อยากเล่นกันอยู่2-2ค่ะมีไทคูลเลอร์กันกลางเอาไว้ฮะ
มาครับกับยูมินครับไหลมาตามหลังของ TKL แล้วไดบายต่อเนื่องพยายามจะตัดยางเลยนะครับดาวกุนอฟกดใส่ครับคูณ4
แล้วแบบนี้ไทคูลเลอร์ไปเรื่อยๆนะฮะไหลลงมากลางวงแต่ว่าเจอด่านจากทางของเบสเซียแล้วกดใส่มาแบบนี้แต่ว่าคนที่น็อกได้ก็คือมามแล้วค่ะไปได้สเปซแมนตัวยิงหลักของไทคูลเลอร์ซะด้วย
โอ้โหนี่ฮะ
Bye.
มาในกรุ๊ปเซตได้สวยนะครับแล้วโค119ไปโดนน็อกจากทางของเซลลิตี้น็อกดาวไปอีก1เหมือนกันครับ
อ้าวแล้วดึงคิวสติลคิวไปเลยอะเท่ากับว่าตอนนี้เสียตัวยิงไป2แล้วนะแล้วยังไม่หมดเท่านั้นเนี่ยทางของทีซีตัดมาเป็นสู่จือนะคะแล้วเรียบร้อยเลยแบ่งกันไปทีมละแต้มเพอร์เฟกติกได้ดงจือมาค่ะแล้วหมดเลยไหมไทคูลเลอร์หมดแล้วนะคะจบไปอันดับที่15ค่ะต้องดูกันแล้วแหละว่ายังไงกันต่อดีฟุกกี้ยังไม่ยอมลงจากฟ้าเลยฮะโดนปาร์คโปนี่บินตามมาอีก1นี่เขาเรียกว่าหน่วยปฏิบัติการภาคอากาศหรือเปล่านะไล่ยิงไล่สอยเครื่องบินคนอื่นเขา
ปาร์คโปนะครับเบโกป่าวนมาหาพื้นที่การเล่นกันอยู่นะครับโอ้โหและดูครับเช็คก่อนโอ้กระสุนมาแล้วครับเมื่อสักครู่แต่ภาพดูที่ทีมฟอลคอนครับชิมซี่
เราสงบนิ่งมากๆเลยเลยค่ะตอนนี้ในเฟสที่2นะอีก20วินาทีถ้าอาการนี้นี่สงสัยจะไปไฟกันตอนเฟสไหนเนี่ยเฟส4เลยไหม14ทีม56ชีวิตนะดูคนขับเครื่องบินกันไปก่อนแล้วกันอเดอร์ซี่จาก VBT
นี่ฮะอย่าวนๆกันอยู่นะครับBBทีมก็เล่นแบบตึงๆเลยนะครับ14ทีม56ชีวิตครับวงอัปเดตเฟสที่3ครับอัปเดตมาขวาครับโอ้โหที่รอนไฟฟอร์เรสเนเชอรัลไหลเข้าวงได้แล้ว ครับเดย์เทรดบ้านสวยๆเลยสายล่างอารีนาอยู่แถวเทรสแท็กครับดูครับแล้วบีบีทีเหมือนจะวนเข้าไปแล้วไกลๆกันเลยครับแบบนี้
ไปขวา
หรือเปล่าไฟต่อไปเป็นพวกเขาแน่ๆฮะยกเว้นว่าบีบีทีจะขับเลยไปแล้วเอน่าเจอตัวมาก่อนนูรินไปล่าทางของโดนดอกตกรถมาแล้วซ้ำต่อได้ไม่มีปัญหาแล้วที่เหลือคือขับต่อไปดีกว่าสำหรับทางของบีบีที
ทำได้ดีอยู่นะอารีนาครับรอบนี้เป็นไงสีแดงโอ้โหแรงฤทธิ์นูริน
สีแดง
แต่หลังจาก BB ทีมเนี่ยสิยังมีทั้งนิวแฮปปี้ที่อยู่ใกล้ๆแล้วก็ทีมฟอร์คอนที่น่าจะเข้ามาในมูฟนั้นนะคะแล้วดูซี่อ่ะโอ้โหดูเครื่อง
โอ้โห
แบบนุ่มนวลนี่คือติดด่านควันดำแบบว่า 300%
ยังดีที่มันไม่ระเบิดคุณมันแค่เครื่องยนต์ดับเฉยๆอ้าว
นัดเดียวพอ
แล้วฟิลเฟิร์สไปโดนน็อกซิลเล่นน็อกดาวน์อีกหนึ่งครับ BB ทีมครับทีมที่ดีที่สุดในลอนโดครับของโดดกำลังจะออกหรือเปล่าวะหาอีกหนึ่งครับมามครับ
176 damage is the highest in the lobby right now. That's kind of nuts.
มันจะมีการโยกย้ายจุดแล้วนะคะสำหรับทางของทีมฟอร์คอน
How low that
ตอนแรกเนี่ยอยู่ใกล้กับอารีนามากๆนะเหมือนจะมูฟลงไปด้านล่างแทนค่ะส่วนอีกหนึ่งทีมนะดีเอ็นฟรีกจะเล่นยังไงดีผ่านมาในไลน์เป็นไลน์เก่าของทีมฟอร์คอนนะแล้วจะมาเจออารีนาหรือเปล่า
ดีเอ็นฟรีกครับเห็นแล้วหรือเปล่าครับเหมือนจะต้องหาจุดเล่นเลยครับขอบวงเข้ายากอยู่นะครับตัวอาคารด้วยแถวเทสแทร็กเอเว่นก็น่าสนใจนะครับเพราะว่า PGS 7 และ 8 เนี่ยก็จะรันต่อเนื่องนะครับในช่วงของเดือนพฤษภาคมนี้นะครับแล้วก็จะไปว่ากันต่อกับทีมชาติยังไงล่ะตรงนี้มาเจคอบทีมชาติขึ้นมาแบบนี้โง่เฮงดีเจคอบเปิดก่อนเฮเว่นน้องดาวดิการเข้าตีเลลิกตะแม่ของเฮเว่นออกจากเกมไปก่อนครับดีเอ็นฟิกวนกลับออกเลยครับไม่ทิมต่อแล้ว
ถือว่าดีนะเพราะว่า2ทีมที่ไหลผ่านอารีนาเนี่ยโดนตัดมาเป็นแต้มคิวกับอารีนาทีมละ1แต้มแล้วก็มูฟต่อเลย
ครับโอ้โหเอาละหมาย2รออยู่สยองแน่จือหลงครับกดใส่กดล่วงไหมอย่างไม่ล่วงครับแต่มาดูที่ทีมฟอลคอนครับเป็นชิมซี่ได้ท่านของอาคารนะน็อกดาวน์
แบบนี้ยังไงฮะโดนมา1แล้วเขาจะจำเป็นต้องเทคพื้นที่ตรงนี้นะคะสำหรับทีมฟอลคอนค่ะไม่ใครก็ใครแหละเบโกปาหรือทีมฟอลคอนเนี่ยไฟกันไปเลย
จิโกตินครับซ้ำท่านของอาคารออกจากเกมไปครับแล้วซองแจงตรงนี้ก็น่าจะแค่คุมจังหวะเฉยครับบริเวณขอบวงครับ10 วินาทีวงอัปเดตเฟสที่4ครับรอดูว่าจะไปตรงไหนอย่างไรครับระเบิดใส่มาเหมือนกันนะตรงนี้วนกลับไปก่อนและด้านบนธีรทรไฟเข้ามาคุมอีกทีมแล้วครับเบโกปากำลังจะโดนแซนด์วิชแล้ววงอยู่ที่เดย์เทรดเกมมิ่งครับในตัวอาคารครับรวมไหมเหมือนเรียกรวมแล้วครับเดย์เทรดฮะ
แบบนี้สวยมากๆสำหรับเดย์เทรดแต่ว่าทีละทอนไฟฟอร์เรสแล้วก็อารีนาเองเนี่ยอาจจะต้องหาพื้นที่ให้ได้เลยค่ะเพราะว่าแทบจะไม่เหลือให้เล่นเลยแล้วให้สวินตรงนี้ตัดไปเป็นกับยูมีนะสวิมซี่ได้ทางของดีเอลมาดีฟรีมันจะมีปัญหาแบบต่อเนื่องไปเจอกับทีมฟอลคอนคือไหลมูฟเดียวกันเลยนะ2ทีมเนี้ย
ใช่ครับ
ตามกันมาแต่ว่าคนละไทม์มิ่งเท่านั้นเองไทม์มิ่งนี้มาเจอกันแล้วค่ะ
แต่ดูจากแมปเนี่ยเมื่อสักครู่นี้เนี่ยเปโรอยู่ด้านบนนับนิวแฮปปี้อยู่ด้านล่างและตรงกลางคืออารีนาอีกแล้วนะครับเราดูว่าจะเข้าวงยังไงครับอารีนาครับในวงถัดไปครับเฟสที่4แรงมากครับซาลูดครับเจ็บหนักปั๊มยาไปก่อนสแกปปี้เปิดหน้าของดึกฮิลน็อกดาวน์ไปครับฟอร์เรสก็เริ่มมาเช่นเดียวกันครับ
ฟอร์เรสต้อง
Okay, salute. Time to die.
ตัดดึกฮิลไป
Goodbye.
ได้ไหมเฮ้ยซาลูดคนสุดท้ายเรียบร้อยปิดงานไปโดยทิกตีนนะฮะสำหรับทางของดีเอ็นฟรีจบ14ไปเลยค่ะ13ที19ชีวิตในวงเฟสที่4แบบนี้
โอ้โหเคิร์ดไก่ครับสูงสุดคืนสู่สามัญนะตรงนี้แล้วเป็นนูรินไปนะของอีกเล็บล็อกดาวน์แล้วทีสีแดงแรงฤทธิ์ตรงนี้ยังไงแล้วหมิงมิ่งกดใส่ด้านบนมาค้ำให้กับทางหน้าของท่านประธานก่อน
แล้วขยับรถเลยฮะหมิงมิ่งเอายังไงเล่นยังไงเอน่าขยับรถเหมือนกันนะคะแทนวูไปตัดมาเป็นโอลิมปัสได้ค่ะเอน่าต้องค่อยๆไปแล้วขับรถไล่มาทางฝั่งของเป็นชอโรแล้วพี่จีกดไล่หลังต่อเนื่องนั้นหน้าโดนยิงกระตุกตกรถมาจากทางฝั่งของเตขอบชุยชีสวนกลับมาไปทางของซิตี้ที่น็อกไป
Does the yellow highlight mean? I don't know.
อยู่ตรงนี้เป็นชอโรครับยังไงต่อแล้วเป็นชุยชีครับซับซิตี้ออกจากเกมไปเหมือนกันจังหวะนี้มาได้เทเรลซับของนั้นออกจากเกมไปดูลินนะต้องระวังซ้ายด้วยครับซ้ายหลังมีอยู่1เหมือนกันปาระเบิดมาลูกนี้ย้อยไม่โดนเลยครับ30 ดาเมจเฉยๆยังไงต่อวนกลับออกมาก่อนจังหวะนี้นูรินปั๊มยาหลังสโมก
กลายเป็นว่าเอน่าโดนกดดันหนักเลยฮะแล้วเป็นชอโรตอนนี้ยังไงดีคะขยับขึ้นบนไปต้องระวังว่าตัวเองจะกลายเป็นแซนด์วิชไส้แบบของจีนได้นะเพราะว่ามีทั้งเป็นชอโรทั้งยูแฮปปี้เลยฮะแล้วตรงนี้จินกระตีนไปซ้ำว่าเป็นเรนเจอร์เอ็กซ์ รทรไฟมา1ลินโกดมาแจมด้วยปฐมพงษ์โดนเปิดน็อกไป17เกมมิ่งเดินหน้ามันแล้วแบบนี้ยังไงเหลือฟุกกี้กับโรเซตเจอาจะรับจะตัดได้หรือเปล่าส่วนขวาล่างจอเล็กกับเป็นโชว์โรกับเอียวิน่าเรียบร้อยสุดโอ้โหธีรทรไฟโดนปิดไปหมดทีมจาก17เกมมิ่งทิกเกอร์เป็นด้านของรับคิงมาอีก1คนในด้านนี้พาตัดมาที่นูรินอีกรอบนูรินเซตเน็ตไปยังไม่เป็นไรท่านประธานยังโดนรีเซ็ตอยู่แล้วเฮ้ยยังไงไปปืนโผล่แล้วลากยาวมาโซนูรินเรียบร้อยปิดงานจบบททีมร่วมมือกับจือหลงนิวแฮปปี้เป็นโชว์โรจบ12ไปอ่ะ
เด็กเทเวลเปิดหน้าของวินนี่น็อกดาวน์ไปเหมือนกันจังหวะนี้สำหรับของวินนี่ออกจากเกมครับนิวแฮปปี้ก็เริ่มมาเรื่อยๆนะครับแจมไฟมาเรื่อยๆเลยเอียรีน่าเคลียร์ด้านซ้ายได้ครับเสียไปแค่1ได้กลับมา4ถือว่าคุ้มอยู่แล้วเห็นหน้าของทวิตเตอร์ไมล์ต่อเนื่องเลย
สวย
ลดลงก่อนนะจังหวะนี้ต้องระวังนะครับ
ผมจัด
ครับหลังเปิดนะครับแล้วอัปเดตขึ้นมาที่เดียวฟอร์เรสสวยๆกับขวาบนนะครับ
Bad shift for day trade
ต้องมูฟอีกครั้ง
Okay TE can have this one
กันไปตอนนี้ทีมไทยเหลืออยู่3ทีมฮะเอ้าทิกเกอร์ไปโดนซิลเซนเฮดช็อตน็อกไปอ่ะแต่ว่าตำแหน่งของทิกเกอร์น่าจะพอรีเซ็ตได้นะเพราะว่าเดย์เทรดเนี่ยเขามีตัวคันให้เล่น
ไฟคอนวิวชั่นครับท็อปไฟเนี่ยเป็นเพอร์เฟกต์สติกครับส่วนรูปทำแต้มให้กับทีมได้ค่อนข้างสม่ำเสมอเลยมาฮะเพอร์เฟกต์สติกกดมาหาด้านของ Arena และมาแล้วครับนิวแฮปปี้ครับต้องระวังฟอลคอนครับชนบ้านของเบโกปายังไงครับไหลเข้ามาแล้วยังไม่ได้อยู่ในวงด้วยครับต้องการแต้มเพิ่มนะครับไหลเลือกจะชนเข้ามาเลย
โอ้โหเบโกปาเองเนี่ยใน Final Stage ยังไฟไม่ชนะทีมไหน
That's so many blues on meds man
ก็ได้บ้างนะฮะในบางแผนที่แล้วตรงนี้โอ้โหเดี๋ยวยังไงปาชิงแบบย้อยนี่ย้อยของคุณเลยเนี่ยแต่ไม่โดนใช่ไหมไม่ได้ แต่มันย้อยจริงนะเมื่อกี้ขึ้นแบบ90องศา
ใช่ปาแบบว่าโปรเจกต์ตาย
ตายเลย
โปรเจกต์ตาย
แล้วจิมซี่ลูกนี้บอกไปแบบทื่อๆนี่แหละว่าหวังผลได้หน่อยฮะ44ดาเมจใจต้องแจงตาไปอีก1ลูกแต่เขาออกประตูหลังกันไปแล้วกันกิกตาเล่นบนหลังคาแล้วรีเพย์มาเฉย
นูรินไงจังหวะลาก2ตัวตรงนี้ครับแล้วก็ปิดเคลียร์หน้าของเบดิชอโรสฮะให้ดูแค่ประมาณนี้นี่
ให้ดูจือลงนะว่าแจมมาจากตรงไหน
ชุยชีครับขวาบนคู่นี้เอ้าเจคอบเปิดหน้าของเด็กเทเวลมากลับมาอีกทียังไงต่อดูซิปิดงานไปหรือพี่ทีมจอดับที่11ไปเลยโอ้กลับมาจากรีเพย์หายไปก่อน1ทีมครับผมตรงนี้
โอ้ของคุณไปแล้วฮะจบ11ของผมเนี่ยเหลือแค่1คนมีปัญหาเหมือนกันนะเพราะว่าโดนเข้าหลังจากนิวแฮปปี้แต่ภาพไม่ได้ตัดไปแล้วทีมฟอร์คอนมุมนี้ยังไงทีมฟอร์คอนกับทางของเบโกปาแล้วเรียบร้อยประตูดินปิดงานเจคอบจบ10ตามต่อ
ผมไปที่17 Gaming ฮะ
เอาไปแล้วฮะเจคอบค่ะได้มา1น็อกนะจาก16 KK นะคะคิกสตาร์ตัดมาเป็น2ฮาร์ดนะ3ต่อจากเกมไปเหลือ9ทีม32ชีวิตฟอร์คอนวน
คุณแม่ไข่ไม้
2ผมไปไหนดีเนี่ยตอนนี้
ผมไป17สแกปปี้เปิดได้ของคอรี่น้องดาวไปก่อนนะให้คุณนึกก่อนนะจังหวะนี้จะเดินเคลียร์บ้างของเบโกปาจิมซี่ไม่เห็นนะไหลมาจังหวะนี้ดูไปก่อน1 2จากไป2สวยงามเลยช็อตนี้ครับผมนี่เก๋าประสบการณ์นะเบโกปา
เทเกมมิ่งมา
อายุเหรอโอ้โหเรียบร้อยสุดท้ายเป็นหลินโก้ได้ปิดงาน2แจงไปครับเบโกปาจบอันดับที่9เลยครับเบลมอดเปิดมาซิลเซนน็อกดาวน์อีกครั้งนึงครับ
from the other side of the map
จะทายไปก่อนจนกว่าจะโดนขับไล่แบบคุณ
บาตูลินได้จากด้านของ16 KK น้องดาวเหมือนกันและชีแต่ด้านของคิกสตาร์น้องดาวไปจังหวะนี้บาตูลินซ้ำด้านของ16 KK ออกจากเกมไปจือหลงกดใส่ทั้งหน้าของทวิตเตอร์ไมล์ครับนิวแฮปปี้
โอ้จะเป็นดาร์ฟคิงค่ะ3คิกสตาร์แล้วซิลเซนก็โดนซ้ำมาจากทางของดึกเฮียวนะคะดูวงดีกว่ากลางแบบนี้DX Pendable นะที่สำคัญก็คือน่าสนใจที่เบสเซียยังอยู่นะคุณท็อป8อ่ะ
ผมให้17แล้วจือหลงครับกำระเบิดรอยังไงครับเช็คว่าหลังก้อนหินหรือเปล่ายังไม่ได้เช็คทวิตเตอร์ไมล์กดใส่มาครับแท็กสีชมพูหน่อยแล้วเดย์เทรดมูฟนี้สำคัญนะเพราะว่าได้ยินเสียงปืนครับแต่เข้าทำซ้ายก่อนครับแล้วก็น่าสนใจอีก1จุดคือเบสเตียยังประคองตัวเองอยู่ได้ครับในวงเฟสที่6นี้ครับ
โอ้แต่ถ้าเดย์เทรดไปมูฟตรงนี้แล้วไม่ได้เคลียร์นิวแฮปปี้อาจจะกลายเป็นโดนแจมมาจากในวงได้นะฮะนี่ไงแต่เพอร์ซี่ค่ะแจมมาใส่นิวแฮปปี้ก่อนแบบนี้ถือว่าสวยกับเรานะคะประตูตีนตัดเฮดช็อตใส่ทางของจือหลงไปแล้วน่าจะ3ต่อได้ไม่มีปัญหาอ้าวแล้วเกิดเออร์เลอร์หรืออะไรยังไงรถไหลไปท้ามินุยาชาน็อกไปอย่างนี้ประตูตีนเลือกยิงฮะ
โอ้รถปัดไปโดนครับรถกำลังจะระเบิดครับระเบิดทับไหมยังและติดกาอินุยาชาบอกว่าสวยจัดครับพี่ทุกก่อนนี้เดนเวลแ ยิงโล่กัน
They don't have enough bullets to shoot through the shield.
โซนกินแรงกว่าเอาน็อกโซนครับไม่ให้คิวไว้แบบนี้น่าจะยอมพรีชีพรีกายแล้วหรือเปล่าเลยครับนิวแฮปปี้
ใช่เพราะว่าจะไปยังไงต่อ
He's just gonna sit here and
แล้วนะฮะ
heal until the game ends, I guess.
แล้วเอ้า
Why did he move? He just gave them the point.
ยิง
What is he
ซ้ำ
doing?
ไปเหลือเด็กคือเวลคนเดียวค่ะส่วนจอขวาอันนั้นคือมุมของฟอลคอนนะปั๊มยาสู้ฟอลคอนปั๊มยาสู้โอ้โหจะไหวไหมนะเหลือกี่อันนะมองไม่เห็นเหมือนจะหมดแล้วด้วยนะ
หมดแล้วเอชวินเรียบร้อยครับนิวแฮปปี้กับทางด้านของทีมฟอลคอนครับจับมือไปเลยครับอันดับ8และอันดับที่7ครับ
ถือว่าเท่าเทียมนะ1
It's kind of crazy how Forest hasn't pushed Twisted here. That's a confidence thing for sure.
11ชีวิต
อุ้ยฟอเรส
4 คนครบนะ
Like if they were slaying for the first few games, they just go up over that hill and just throw grenades at Twisted Minds while they're 3-man focusing.
สเปนแต่มาช็อตนี้โล่งโจ้งไปหน่อยคิดเปิดน้ำก่อนเอาอีกแล้วคู่ปั๊มแต่กรุ๊ปสเตจครับมาดูว่าฟอร์เรนเนชั่นแนลเกมมิ่งจะทำแต้มตรงนี้มาน้อยแค่ไหนระเบิดจะย่อย
Good nade.
เอ้ย
Pretty good nade.
โดนฮะมีดาเมจขึ้นมาแล้ว
Oh shit, Olympus, don't nade now. What are you doing?
โอ้โหเพอร์เฟกต์ติดได้น็อกไปก่อนหน้าของโอลิมปัสน็อกดาวน์อ่ะ
โอ้แล้ววนแบบนี้ยังไงมันจะฟอลยิงกด
Oh
ไป
my god, Olympus, why did you pull a nade out?
ตามตัวอย่างตัวเกมไปเฟิร์สติกค่ะไปได้บาเรนมาแล้วแทน
What the fuck is
เราได้ซ้ำไปเลยจากทางของดึกเกี่ยวแต่ตัดมาเป็นลินโกอันนี้เป็นอีกไฟหนึ่งนะคะเหมือนจะมีการขยับของเดนเทรดแล้วเหมือนกันเลยค่ะแล้วเรียบร้อยเลยฟอเรสเพิ่งจะทักชื่อไปว่าครบ4นะโดนปิดงานมาจากดีเอ็กเพเดเบิลเงี้ยจบ6กันไปอ่ะ
จังหวะแอบเล่นยากไปนิดหนึ่งครับด้วยแพนเซอร์ฟอลส์ครับถ้าเป็น M4 ผมว่าน้อง
Did they even get that flush? They didn't.
สักครู่นี้คือถ้ามีการยิงแพนเซอร์ไปเนี่ยพอสับปืนมาทำให้มันเสียหมดเลยครับนอนอยู่เนียนๆตั้งนานทิกเกอร์บอกว่าผมก็เห็นครับพี่อย่ามาติดพุ่มนี่ไงซ้ำไปก่อนดิโอ้โหและเดทเทดมาได้ดีครับแบบนี้วงอัพเดตมาด้านซ้ายด้วย DS Penable เงียบๆอยู่นานแล้วครับยังอยู่ครบ4
เดทเทดมากวาดล้างนักวิจัยพันธุ์นะฮะบอกว่าไหนวิจัยนี่ยังเหลืออีก1วิจัยเปล่าต้องมาเคลียร์ไปฮะตรงนี้นักวิจัยมาม
ครับ
Empty hype, I guess that's a check
ยาวเหรอ
เหลือคนเดียวแล้ว
โอ้แต่ว่า17 Gaming ครับผลทางด้านหน้าอันตรายเหมือนกันครับถ้าตีได้อย่างน้อยเปิดได้2น็อกเนี่ยผมว่าตีบ้านแตกอยู่นะครับ
อาจจะต้องลุ้นให้17ไปเปิดใส่เด็กเพเบิลแหละแล้วเดทเทดรอแจมไฟนะฮะ
ดูรีเพย์ครับจังหวะการเดินการยิงครับทวิตเตอร์ไมล์ครับ
มารอดูด้วยแหละว่าจะเป็นโดดแรกของทวิตเตอร์ไมล์ในไฟนอลสเตจด้วยหรือเปล่าที่ติดท็อป4
Love it.
เพราะว่า3ตัวที่ผ่านมาเขายังไม่ติดท็อป4เลยนะ
Love it, love it. See more of that.
ใช่ถือว่าผิดแบบเขาเรียกว่าอะไรเดียผิดสถิติที่เขาทำได้โดยปกติแล้วกัน
ผิดโผ
ผิดโผ
แล้วแบบแยกกันเล่นค่อนข้างบ่อยนะรอบนี้เท่าที่เห็นนะหมายถึงว่าทางด้านของทวิตเตอร์ไมล์นะครับใส่มาดึงเที่ยวเจ็บหนักเลยจังหวะนี้ซิวดิตี้ก็วนกลับมาก่อนครับหลังพุ่มมาปั๊มยาบาตูลินเปิดมาเป็นคอรี่น็อกดาวไปครับด้านบนครับเล่นไม่ได้ครับแหมปิดด้านหน้าโดนด้านหลังนะครับ
ใช่ค่ะแต่เป็นเซลเปิดสติลคิวไปนะอย่างที่บอกไว้อะถ้า17ตีเดทเพนเบิลจะดีกับเดทเทรดนะคะแต่เหมือนกับทามมิ่งนี้เดทเทรดก็ขยับเหมือนกันค่ะเซลดิตี้กำมาเป็นเกรเนดรู้เป้าหมายเลยฮะบอกทำลายยาพาหนะก็ไปก่อนปามีเท่าไหร่ปาใส่สูตร17นี่คือสายผลิตระเบิดอยู่แล้วด้วยอะเรียบร้อยรถพังไปอะแล้วด้านนี้ซิลิตี้ควักมาแพนเทอร์ฟอลวิ่งมาประชิดกะระยะกะมุมกะเหลี่ยมดีๆแล้ววิ่งอ้อมมาเห็นเลยว่ามีการปาอะไรมาแต่แล้วกินกดใส่แบบนี้เรียบร้อยเดี๋ยววิ่งนะตาย
That's really cool
ตรงนี้แล้วธนาโดนนะเป็นทางของตัดมาเป็นชีเฮดช็อตไต่ไปแล้วสวนกลับมาการดึงเกี่ยวไปด้านของเซลเบย์มา1 คนดึงเกี่ยวตรงนี้โดนน็อกไปแล้วเรียบร้อยเลยซิลิตี้ปิดให้หมดทีจบ5เด็กเพนเดอร์
Yeah, good.
โอ้โหแล้วเดินมานี้ระเบิด2 ลูกจะย่อยเรียบไหมยังไม่เรียบครับไหลเข้าเคไฟเลยหรือเปล่าแล้วทวิตเตอร์ไมล์มาแล้วเช่นเดียวกัน
How is Mime so good at just like being the last one standing, just chilling in a bush by himself?
ทีจีไปแล้วเพอร์เฟกต์ไหลมาชิดกำแพงได้ไปที่เรียบร้อยยังไงต่อดึงเคียวได้หลังจากของเซเปิดเกมไปเบลมอดเซนเน็ตปิดงานเซลลิตี้ไป17 เกมมิ่งจบ4 3ทีมตรงนี้เบสเตียยังอยู่คุณผู้ชมแต่ว่าเดทเทดไหลเข้ามาตีนะของทวิตเตอร์ไมล์ครับจะเป็น4ชนกับ3และรอแจมไฟอีก1ครับของเบสเตีย
They're backing up, but they're just gonna back directly on top of Mime, I think. And Tigger's gonna be the one to die to him again. No.
เขาจะไปได้ถึงไหนล่ะค่ะ
โอ้โหอยู่ในวงด้วย
ไว้นะเรียนฟิกไม้2อะ
ไปแล้วไม่ไม้2 17ไง
นี่ดีทายต่อเร็วทายต่อ
เดี๋ยวช่องแชทหาว่าผมขยี้คุณอีกไม่เอา
ผมทายเดทเทดไง
คอยขัดคอยเขิดแต่เราเป็นอย่างนี้มาตั้งนานนะเหมือนคู่เรา
ใช่
ขัดกันไปขัดกันมาอยู่เนี่ยเฮ้ยนอนพุ่มอยู่เพื่อนเอาหน่อยใครก็ได้โทรบอกหน่อยดิตรงนี้โอ้โห
ลี่ยนเป็นเพชรฆาต
นี่มันแพ้สนามหรือเปล่าเนี่ยเขาไม่ยิงใครเลยรักสันติอ่ะ
ไม่เขาบอกแล้วเขาบอกว่าหน้าที่ผมคือหายใจอยู่ในพุ่มนี้ให้นานที่สุด
โอ้โห
Oh, okay. Belmoth is like, okay, I'm gonna start checking bushes.
สแปม
เฮ้ยแต่เขารู้นะใช่ป่ะเดเทดเขาก็มีเซนส์แหละว่า
He didn't check the right one. Belmoth, please.
พุ่มยกเว้นไอ้พุ่มนั้นที่ไม่ได้ยิง
No.
ใครก็ได้โทรบอกโม่หน่อยแล้วโอ้โหเก็บคนละ
Belmoth
วันนี้มารอจังหวะสุดท้ายครับรอเดเทดปะทะหน้าของทวิตเตอร์ไมล์ก่อนนี่ฮะ
แล้วนี่แหละคือตัวแปรสำคัญของเดเทดนะคะที่อาจจะทำให้เกมมันพลิกกลับมาได้แต่เดเทด
Okay, he's actually got the boys. Like,
ขึ้น
guys,
เนินสูงเพราะว่ารู้ว่า
I'm pretty sure Twisted Minds lost one early.
เบเทีย
เบสเทียได้
There's a solo somewhere.
เพราะว่าดูจากทวิตเตอร์ไมล์ถ้าวงอ่ะเฟสที่9ไม่มีวงแล้วครับเฟสที่9อ้าว
Hey, you got him. Let's
โอ้
go.
โหเหลือเชื่อ
เนี่ยคุณก็ทายต่อดิผมทายเดเทดไว้
ทวิตเตอร์ไมล์
นั่นแหละ มาดูสิว่าเคิร์ดใครมันจะหนากว่ากัน
มันไม่ใช่แล้วว่า
ของผม
พอผ
ไม่
ม
ใช่
ทายเนี่ยพอผมพูดปุ๊บไปเลย น้อง
เห็
เห็
น
น้องเรียนมา แล้วไงแฟดเข้าไปเก็บข
He's
อง
like,
ออ
oh.
ปชั่นเพิ่มเติมมาบอกว่านอนนานมากขาชา
Really?
หมดแล้วพี่เอ้ย
โอ้แต่ว่าเขาก็มาถึงท็อป3อีกแล้วนะ
เออ
คือแต้มของเวเซียทุกคนตอนนี้อยู่อันดับ4อ่ะแล้วคือแทบไม่ได้คิวอะไรกับใครเขาเท่าไหร่นะแต่ว่าเน้นใน
แต่
เรื่
ม
อ
อง
ของ
เห็
การ
น
เก็บเฟสเมนต์พอยต์มาเรื่อยๆนะคะ
ใช่เหรอวะผมเนี่ย ใช่เหรอพูดปุ๊บไปปั๊บเลยเหร
One
อ
smoke grenade for
เฮ้ย
Twist.
ตอนนั้นคุณทายจบช้าก็มี
That's pretty fucking rough.
ถวยติมายครับแหม่บูโซนกินหลัง บูโซนกัดกินหลังวง 9 เจ็บนะครับเฟสที่ 9 นี้ไม่มีเพย์โซนเข้าสู่จุดเซนเตอร์กำบังมีไหมกำบังมีเพียงต้นไม้กับตัวรถหลังชิดก่อนหลังชิดบูโซนก่อนคีเอสโมกมาเอาละ M79 ถ้าเปมาชุดแรกไม่เป็นไรชุดต่อไปทิกเกอร์โมสคิวที่สุดในกรุ๊ปสเตจนะครับ
โอ้โหแล้วเดย์เทรดแบบนี้ฮะถือว่าพื้นที่สวยกว่าด้วยนะ
ย้
คะ
อย
แล้วมีออปชั่นให้เล่นค่อนข้างเยอะเลยอะเรียบร้อย
โอ
ต
เค
รงนี้ติ๊กเกอร์ฮะ
Got him
เปิดจากทางของลูไปได้4 ต่อ 2 เริ่มเดินหน้ายิงใส่ติ๊กเกอร์เห็นแล้ว มีการขึ้นรถไปอย่างนี้ลากต่อยาวๆมาปกติก็เรียบร้อยแฟนไปดูทางของปกติตกรถมาแล้วก็สุดท้ายบา
He's
ตู
so
เล่
low.
เฮ้ยขวาเรียบร้อย
They got him with a Molotov. Or he mollied himself, maybe. Not sure. Maybe it's Belmoth molly.
วันแรก
Woo!
ไฟนอลสเตจครับพวกเขาทำได้ฮะเดทเทรดเกมมิ่ง
สุดยอด
ของแท้
เขามาในแบบที่ควรจะมานะฮะอย่างรอนโดนะ เพราะว่ารอนโดเนี่ยก็คือแผนที่หนึ่งที่เขาเคยเก็บไก่ไปได้และนี่คือไก่ที่2ของพวกเขาในรอนโดด้วยนะคะแล้วก็ถือว่ามาแบบต่อเนื่องเลยเตโก้ก็ทำผลงานได้ดีแล้วรอนโดก็ดีอีกเดี๋ยวอาจจะต้องไปรอดูว่าจะขึ้นสู่ท็อปแบบท็อป1ท็อป2ของตารางได้แค่ไหน
เอาแล้ว เริ่มออกสตาร์ทเลยครับผมปีศาจจาก A แพ็ก
เกม
เดทเทรดเกมมิ่งตอนนี้
บ้า
นี่ฮะและขึ้นจอใหญ่ด้วยครับ3จอฮะเดทเทรดเกมมิ่งฮะนับ1อ่ะ
อะไรก็ได้ที่ไม่ใช่มิราม่านะฮะสำหรับเดท
ใจฟูเลยเห็นไหมโอ้แล้วสำหรับทุกคนรับชมไฮไลท์เดี๋ยวกลับมาคุยครับ
300%. Easy. Well, John Fame playing poker in Taiwan or something. So someone has to take over. Oh god. Alright. In this break, I might have to end the stream. I gotta go organize some stuff. I have to get to my sister's house. I'm babysitting all day tomorrow. So no stream tomorrow. I need to go pack my shit. Prepare some things to take over. So I'll go do that. GG day trade. I'll give it like until game 6 ends before I draw the giveaway thing. Yeah, you tell me, man. But I gotta go pack my bags and shit for babysitting at my sister's house tomorrow. So GG's. Obviously that means I won't be streaming tomorrow, but maybe I'm back Sunday. Alright. Peace.